Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 23 of Indie Game Dev Report, not to be confused with the recently created Dev Report that CodeMonkey started putting together. Imagine that, CodeMonkey listening to my podcast and thinking, hey, that's an idea I could ape. Get it? CodeMonkey, ape? I'm kidding, but hey, you never know. The channel Coding with Unity did comment on episode 17 way back 2 years ago. I'm actually just really grateful that interviews are getting heard. Anyways, I've used countless CodeMonkey tutorials, so I'm not too upset about that. Maybe the podcast will get some eyes from Dev Report YouTube searches. Anyways, in this episode, I've got an in-depth interview with Justwall Wirehead Games on their upcoming top-down pixel art survival game, The Hunter's Path, as well as a handful of their previous releases including Terrene, Evidence of Life, The Death Rings of Jupiter, and much, much more. It was a ton of fun talking to these guys, and the interview went a little long, so we're just going to get right to the interview in this episode. Without further ado, here is my interview with Justwall Wirehead Games. Hey everybody, I've got an awesome interview here. I've got Justwall and Wirehead, who work together as Justwall Wirehead Games. Wirehead is all the way in Australia, and Justwall is in Washington, I believe. Is that correct? All right, yeah. So distant parts of the planet coming together. I'm in the Midwest right now. Not that makes a difference, but it's awesome to have both teammates on here together. And you guys do stuff separately also, right? Or is it always as a team?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, together we do a bunch of stuff, but yeah, we've worked on games ourselves for sure.
Cool.
We were both solo deving before we met, I think.
Correct.
Both solo?
I was, yeah, for sure.
That's really cool.
Like solo stars floating through the night, and then we collided. 2017
on Twitter.
I think my biggest question is like, what was it like when you guys first started working together versus like now? Like, what was the agreement initially like versus what kind of adaptations you had to make for things to continue working? Because you guys have been working together for a while now, right?
Do you want this one or me?
You can go for it, man. Hit it.
Well, it's different because when we started, like we were both making games, but I started doing art and Justwall was coding, I think.
Yep. And
we swapped eventually, but I'm not sure why that came about. I think maybe I was just itching to do a lot of drawing at the time.
Interesting.
Maybe, I don't know. But we definitely started that way, and we made we made Evidence of Life first, I think.
That was our first game, yeah.
Was it? Yeah, it was. Yeah, we made Evidence of Life, which was Terrene is pretty much like EOL on crack. Pretty much, it's all the things like advanced.
It was like Evidence of Life 2.
It's a sequel.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's in the same universe, or it could be a sequel of. Yep.
And for the audience, Terrene is I think 2021 was the release date, right?
That's when it hit Steam, but we had like a early free version in 19, I think 2019.
Oh wow! So there was a free version first, and then a premium version, and now you've updated it numerous times at this point.
Oh yeah, I would say we've overhauled it a couple times.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
It is a good way to put it.
Because each update is just massive, like compared to other developers and what other studios do. When they make an update, sometimes they're just fixing one thing, or like sometimes you don't even see what they change.
Right.
That's not the case with Terrene.
We would do like 9-month updates, like 9 months, and then we'd QA, and QA was brutal.
Oh,
that's kind of what we're really proud of, right? When I think Terrene, because it's just two of us making a whole game, right?
Right.
And like
it's so polished.
Well, it's just the level of QAing. We didn't let exploits or bugs really appear.
Yeah.
We had them, of course, but
I'll just chime in that we put that on itch originally May 10, 2020.
Okay.
2020. Okay.
2020.
I gave it an extra year. So it was on itch for like a year.
But I think we started it the year before, probably, like actually working on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think maybe we put a year into it before we even.
I think that's why I was thinking 2019, because that was like when
we definitely started in 2019 at some point.
But that was a really good question you asked earlier, though. Like, how did we work differently? Yeah, I was coding at first because I thought that I could, and then Wirehead was drawing everything, but then we realized we'd made that switch. The funny thing is, though, like I feel like our banter and the way we've bounced ideas off each other and the way we've agreed with each other and got like things completed, it's always been the same, right? Like we always just kind of like, oh, that's cool, and it's like, oh, what about this? And it's like, I don't know. We have open dialogue.
I think we
for sure, and that's never
we
changed.
both come from a creative background, like musically and other sort of avenues.
Right.
And to be honest, I think when I collaborate with people, and the same within music and stuff, you would find people would say they were going to do stuff and not really do it. And there's other people that really just get in and do stuff that needs to happen. And I think we clicked on that, like you and me and Justwall, we're both just kind of, we just dig in and get stuff finished, like, and progress things, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Which is hard to find. Yeah, as you would know.
Yeah.
You start projects with people.
It's insanely hard to find.
And
I see a lot of single devs. We've both been solo devs, right? And so I see a lot of solo devs trying to or losing inspiration, right?
Motivation.
But just having one other person, motivation, inspiration, yeah. Just having one other person.
It's huge.
It's always there. Yeah, like if you're feeling down and like, oh, this sucks and we're garbage, the whole imposter syndrome that we all get. And then someone else will lift you up, and it just keeps you kind of going. To see a text in the morning or a DM and be like, "Oh, cool! What did he do? Oh, he built this cool thing." And
yeah, I feel that
it's part of life at this point, And
the breaking up of the testing is just so helpful, like because you don't have to just do all the testing on your own, and like you obviously miss stuff when you're so close to a project, and then you have that other person to find bugs and
different set of eyes.
Like the amount of times I send a build and I think it's like perfect, and then I get all these messages back in the morning when I wake up, like this is broken, it's broken. It's good. It's really good.
yeah.
It's great. The outlook you guys have is just fantastic, because I know what it's like to work with someone on the other side of the planet, and it's not always sunshine and rainbows, considering that one person's asleep while the other person's awake, and there's only like a small window of time to actually communicate when everyone has things to do. But that's so fantastic that you guys can look at the silver linings of that and just focus on that.
I go to sleep. So if I'm working on art and music, I go to sleep, and then another member of our staff, him, wakes up and can, usually he's going to work or whatever, but still, there's always someone awake basically on our team.
Yeah, no, that's
24 hours.
That's really cool. That's another great way to look at it.
So we just kind of go back and forth. And we also through making evidence of life, right? And then we made a couple little games in between it. And then we made Riding Wood 2 together, and that was a lot of fun. That was like a kind of like an RPG game.
We both coded on that.
Generated.
And both did art, maybe. I think you probably did a bit of art as well.
On the same project.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I did all the world. You did all the enemies. You did like every enemy in the game. It was like 100 or 200 or something.
Just did some like more complex things in the game, just the world generation and the loading and saving, and then I think you did the rest.
That's right. I remember playing that one now. It was,
right.
That was a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. I think that was before we did Terrene, before we started Terrene at all.
Oh, okay.
We were working on that one, and so we did that one, and we were like, man, you know what this taught us? We should make like Evidence of Life 2. So that game kind of led us to Terrene, right?
I see.
Because we were kind of figuring out our structure better, and now we just crush it, right? He's mainly coding and programming, and he does art on the fly when he needs to.
Make some placeholder stuff.
And I'm over here just being
because you're asleep.
Yeah, and I'm just over here making weird music, right? And then like drawing a bunch of things, and then completing all the sound effects, right? So as a programmer, he just has like someone shoveling shit at him.
Yeah,
is what it is. Right?
It's good because I don't have to. I don't have to go make sound and graphics.
Yeah, I got a year ahead once in Terrene. You remember that, man?
I do.
I was like a year ahead in art.
I think that, like up to you were ahead by a year up to the last patch. Like you had a lot of the home planets and all that sort of stuff was all drawn, and
Yeah, there was stuff I had
took a
drawn
year
that I
to get to
forgot
it.
that we drew, and it got added in like over a year later.
Now, clearly, you guys love what you've made, and it all started with Evidence of Life.
Right.
Now, I never actually played Evidence of Life. What was that like in comparison to Terrene?
Basic. Yeah.
Yeah, basic and planet-based, like the same vibe, digging blocks.
Yeah.
Just on one planet, I think.
But my programming was pretty weak. Like you got enemies clipping through the world at you, and you got you fall really slow. It feels more 8-bit, like NES, and I feel like Terrene feels more Super NES to me. Like that's how my mind works, I guess.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
Yeah.
And Terrene, you dump so much more passion into that idea.
Right.
So clearly the idea was good, but you felt like what you had made wasn't quite doing it justice then to work on a sequel.
I feel like Evidence of Life to me, the longer it's been years now, it was the prototype to Terrene.
Okay.
Because we already had a backbone of it, and then we figured out how to work together. And then once we had all that worked out, we could just dive into basically the same idea of Evidence of Life, but so much more crap in it, right? Like maps and multiple save files and procedurally generated planets at first that were massive, and then we were like, let's make different planet types. And then we added lore and a whole bunch of stuff. And then we were like, you know what? This game needs a little bit of crafting, so we added some crafting, right? And then we're like, it needs a whole universe of these things, so we added a whole universe of these things, which is, what's the number? How many different planets are in each save file?
I'll tell you.
It's nonsense.
Oh, it's actually just the one. It's actually because
it's the same.
The whole universe is based on one seed. It's the same for everyone, the actual universe, but there's just so many. I think it
was in the.
Hang on, I'll work it out.
Was it in the millions? I can't remember if it was
35,000 by 35,000 equals 1, and then divide that by 10. So 122.5 million planets.
Oh, jeez.
As a guess, because it's like 1 in 10 chance of a square being a planet out of so many billion squares. So
every time that I tell someone about the game, I always tell them that it's like a pixel art 2D version of No Man's Sky.
Right.
And they're like, well, that sounds
yep.
awesome. I'm like, this is what I'm saying. This is awesome. It just doesn't have the networked multiplayer, but it does have local co-op, and there is the remote play, so you could totally play it online with someone.
Couch co-op, and
you can, yep,
and remote play.
Yeah, and it's just definitely like so deep.
the both of us are like obviously we're big No Man's Sky fans. Like I was playing it a lot since it came out.
It's a good game,
but it is a lot different as well. Like there's the actual sort of structure is quite different, but it's you're traveling to like an endless amount of procedurally generated planets and mining stuff and upgrading and getting items, and it's very similar in that aspect.
It's got a lot of Terraria in it. Now I haven't actually played Terraria, but I've seen it been played, and I know kind of what it's like. It's almost like a 2D Minecraft in that respect.
Right.
We're both big fans of Terraria as well, but it doesn't have the building of those games.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, the squares are much larger. The grid
much larger, blocks, and there's no real reason to like stay on a planet other than you kind of mine it out and leave.
Yeah,
and you can return to it. It's like persistent, but it's you can't build anything there, so there's not much reason to return.
Yeah, and I think you guys made the right decision there.
Yeah,
I think there's a million building base games. I think it'll fine to focus on those other aspects of it.
Yeah, and it's it's already got so much going on with it. Speaking of which, are you still planning to update it? I know you're at like 2.5 now. Is that right?
Right. I do think there will be another update. I mean, we pretty much have discussed it and know what's in there. Yeah. So
there's a list, but we were trying to get it out to Xbox.
Oh wow, that would be cool. Like I don't
Yeah,
have an
but
Xbox, but that's still
that's been
very cool.
it would be cool, but yeah, we anyway.
yeah,
I
it's
don't
been
know
a
if you want to talk
struggle.
about that, but
Yeah, we
that's
totally
been a
can. Yeah.
struggle.
Oh, I want to talk
I think
about
we
it.
may have.
It was a nightmare.
I think we might have canned it.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
But see if
Oh, with the
Microsoft ever
NDA.
reply to our email. But yeah,
No, not the NDA,
Uh,
because we were accepted as a
not that.
developer, and so I got the kits and all that, and I've been working through it. But if no one's ever done this, um, it's quite lengthy in a process, and I'm
to
keeping
to
this
port.
NDA friendly, right? Like, yeah, to port. It's
Yeah.
not even porting. It's like
No.
you got to get the engine to talk to the computer through an SDK to go out through that to the IP of this device that then has to be configured in a totally different website. Like I kept writing this dude here and being like, "Well, another 2 logins today." Or like I was just making login after login. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
For
Wow.
like a million Microsoft portals, right?
Yeah,
Like,
all the Azures and all these crazy things. And it's just, and I work
yeah.
in tech for a job, and I was like, wow, I'd never seen that much complexity. And we put stuff on Steam, right? And Steam is no walk in the park. It's confusing as hell in there
Right.
and old. But this was like next level, man. Like my mind has broken on it. So I had to take a mental health break on it. I'm like, I can't look at this anymore. It's not working, right?
Mm.
I totally understand that. I mean, that's why a lot of people partner up to get their games ported or
Yeah.
onto platforms.
I see the
Um,
benefit in that
but
now. Like I really do.
yeah.
I
Mm.
see why people do that.
We did
Well,
like, I mean, you did heaps of work, and then between both of us, we did a bunch.
We did. We did. We've gotten pretty
Kind
far.
of got somewhere. We
We
got pretty far.
we never got it to play on the device though yet. I mean, I think at some point we're gonna
yeah.
do it. It's just you got to take a break
Oh
when you
yeah.
get frustrated with something, and it's not the
You don't want to
game.
burn out.
With the game's ready,
I guess.
like
I guess.
Right.
The yeah. I mean, that new patch. Like, I was planning to do all the parts in that ready for Xbox and a new kind of release as well, like for the Steam version.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I guess we just hit that, and then it's really nice just to work on Hunter's Path now. Just something different. But
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah,
I want
we
to
haven't
keep
mentioned that yet.
updating Terrene probably forever. Maybe, I don't know. I want to like keep adding more. Get to a point in the gameplay where everything's sweet, which we're pretty much there, and then just keep adding content every, maybe 6 months. Add some more sub bosses or
Yeah, what did we talk about?
enemies, or you know what I mean. You want more
Procedural
plants or
plants. We talked about that
yeah,
before,
Oh
yeah.
right?
wow.
Like
Because the plants are semi-procedural. Like they
colored.
use a bunch of pre-made art and joins them together and colors them.
Yeah,
We're probably looking at a more organic kind of generation that makes whole different branches and leaves and that kind of thing.
So it seems like you guys are still kind of coming up with ideas for Terrene, and it's not so much like player feedback, right? Or is it a little
we'd
bit
have
of
to
both?
have players for there to be feedback, right?
That's
Has that been an issue?
yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's just normal game dev stuff,
It's.
right? Like,
I think it's hard for everyone. Yeah,
yeah, it's
to
it's
Yeah.
get
it's a
people to
challenge.
play stuff.
The hard part for that was we releasing it free early on itch was a great idea, but I think that was like we got the eyes on it right then. It was on the
Yeah.
front page of itch, and we got all these downloads.
Oh, that's so cool.
They've all been every one of the people who downloaded initially has all these updates for free, but a lot of
Oh
them
yeah.
haven't revisited it, right?
Yeah. It's like from that point, it's just pretty much sloped downwards, right? Like
Yeah, that's
has little peaks of players when we do updates, but it never gets back to the original
yeah,
peak.
never,
So
not nothing like the day you release the title that no one's ever played seems to be the sweet spot, right?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It's up for debate though, because I feel like we're just saying what we saw happen, but I don't know if it
Sure.
was right
That's
or
right.
wrong.
Doesn't mean
Or,
it's
yeah.
the
Well,
case.
everyone knows getting on itch's front page is awesome.
Oh yeah,
Of course,
feels great.
if it's a free game, that yeah, I could see why it would have been nice to have like a paid game on the front page.
Yeah.
But then again, that spike probably would have been different if it wasn't free, right? So
I just wish.
Probably would have been flat. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wish that the version that is there today
Yep.
was what we released
Was
on
the-
itch for free and had on the front page of itch.
well, how many years did it take to get
That was
to today?
That was 4 years.
another 4 years. So, and we needed
Yeah.
all that feedback. I mean, there was stuff
Yeah.
in
Yep.
that people told us in all that
Because it was tons
we
of
implemented
feedback
because
to get where
it
it's
was
at.
very helpful.
Yeah.
No, I was
Let us-
watching a YouTube video before this interview, and I can't remember the YouTuber, but it had like 8,000 views.
Right? Was it Nucrium?
I think it was. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dude's awesome.
There were at least a couple like larger videos. Like another one had at least over 1,000 views. So I mean, like you got some coverage.
Oh yeah.
It just you just had trouble converting that into actual players then.
Well, I feel like we did pretty good at the beginning on Steam. I mean, there was financials to be made at the beginning of Steam, but yeah, it had just slowed down over time.
Yeah.
The longer and longer it was out, the less and less interest there was, regardless of the amount of posts and promotions and streams that we were on or any of that. Right? Like, it's just people crave something new, especially in the indie world. They're always tomorrow. You played a game today, you're looking for something new tomorrow in the indie world.
Yeah, I think that's like AAA also. I mean,
100%.
I think it's just across the board. Games everyone wants a new game every day. Or
Absolutely.
even more than that. You see them you just scrolling on Twitter, you want new game, new game, new game, new game, new game. You
Right.
know, like I'm on Twitter, I want to see a new game.
Oh, I'll buy a $20 game and play it for like 10 hours and be like, I want to buy another game. I want a new game, right? Like,
Happens all the time.
and they're capitalizing on it now. So like they're capitalizing, and they're smart. They're smart, right? They give you this fucking badass preview promo, and it just makes everyone want that game so bad that even if it's like not done, they still made a cajillion dollars because everyone was waiting for it. And that's kind of that trend that I see. I don't know, it's weird, right? Like, it didn't used to be that way in gaming. It used to be like new and fresh. Now it feels like a lot of stuff is broken. A lot is broken.
What do you mean broken? Like
At launch,
the games,
right?
or
Like for
the
AAA games.
Oh,
yeah.
at launch. Oh yeah.
You
Oh
know
gosh,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
It's still just in like that land of investors
that's what I love
wanting
about
returns,
indie.
and we need to just push this game out because we're losing money. And
Yeah.
gotta the way it goes, right?
Well, it's just an
And the
interesting
good
industry.
companies thrive, like your From Softwares and stuff. Like they just stick to a certain quality without rushing things, and they're quite
Quite solid.
they're famous. Like they're massive, yeah, like cult following kind of stuff. And unfortunately, they don't. AAA stuff doesn't really see that vision. They just want to get the money.
They got the stockholders.
They don't see the long term vision of something. Yeah, like FromSoft making good quality. But it's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's the state of the gaming industry is pretty unfortunate. We're kind of at one of the bleakest times of the industry ever. So
Right.
it's kind of normal for us to have this bleak outlook at this point.
Right, and that's what makes me like
So,
be
yeah.
real down to earth about things, right? Like, I'm never really that concerned about popularity or where you're at or what's going on. It's more just, hey, Lan, let's come up with ideas and do this because we're having a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy just to have a project. Like I would be working on something regardless, but
Yeah.
to have a project and that to work on is it's great.
Yeah.
It's really nice when people play it, of course.
There's there's like two types of devs. Where there's the devs who they're just chasing the money, and once they realize that making games doesn't make a lot of money unless you're super lucky or
Right.
everything just happens just right for you, um, then a lot of those people they turn to other professions because
Yep.
their passion was following the money, which that was it looks like games make money from the outside. It
Right.
does. It
Right.
But when you're in it, it's very,
Yeah.
very difficult to actually make that into like a lucrative machine.
Yeah, I think you need a lot of money to put into marketing, really.
Yeah.
If you've got a lot of capital to do that, I think that can really help. But
Yeah, and of
Oh
course,
yeah,
it's got that.
marketing definitely help.
marketing always helps,
There's
and
certain,
that's for sure.
yeah,
Well, and a lot of times going to a smaller group like us, we go into like a publisher or something could really help you. But then it takes if you're trying to make money, that's costing you money, right? So it kind of
Yep.
goes against that whole making money thing, and so it's just best to not even focus
don't
on it.
don't
You know?
don't get me wrong, and I'm sure Justwall feels the same.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome to make money from, of course,
Yeah. Yeah. It would
and
be
that's
great.
why we will keep putting it out there that we're making stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, it feels the same
Well,
to
there's
me
nothing
as
wrong with making money.
no. It feels the
It's
same
no,
as releasing
but
an
when you're in it
album.
just for the money,
When you're in a band
yeah,
and you release an album, it's very similar to the feeling, right?
it's a good point.
And to the amount of work that goes into, recording a whole
yeah,
album or creating a whole video game. I think video games are more work than just creating
Oh
audio,
yeah,
right? Like, but the creative process of writing a good record or album is similar to, like, you have to have all the right pieces together and the right people, and then it has to all come together perfectly. And
yeah.
yeah,
You got a lot of people involved in that, and they all have to finish their parts
they do, yeah,
and then make a final decision on mixes and all that. Like mixing is,
right.
especially a whole album, that's a
It's a
yeah,
ton. It's months of
that takes
work.
a lot of time.
And
Yep,
then
yep,
and then you got to like release it and go tour it or play it. So that means that all five of you got to have days off and be able to drive somewhere and all of that stuff. And if you have kids,
yep.
it's a little tough.
Adulting, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. If you have kids and a job, yeah. But so I did a bunch of that in my life and still kind of do music wise. And I love it as much as I love just making something like a game. Like I feel the same reward from it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like
sure. The creative and artistic release.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, on that, Rick, we're both of us are like bass players and
Yeah,
played in indie bands and stuff of
absolutely.
growing up, and we
I've
both have
played
that
some
in
bass
common.
myself.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, nice.
you're a fellow bassist. I have some messages back and forth about bass
Have you
guitars with her.
played in indie bands for too long?
Yeah.
So,
Making no money? Have you done that?
what? Yeah. So, what kind of music are you guys both into? You say indie
Pretty
bands. I
fun
mean,
though.
indie's kind of broad, though.
I just say indie because, like, we were an independent
Indie
band, just
devs,
playing gigs
indie
at pubs
bands.
and not the music particular specifically. As in,
Do you guys do
I don't know what
covers or
that
do you guys
genre
do
is.
originals?
I
I always played in original bands, and I think maybe you were the same.
yeah, I didn't really ever do covers.
No.
I my genre has always been like new, I guess they would call it new metal. I don't know. It was 2000 stuff.
Okay, yeah.
I was on
No,
a
I
I
think it's
label
remember.
and
new.
touring and stuff in the
I call it
2000s.
new metal. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, like System of a
Over here,
Down.
System of a
that
Down,
would
yeah.
be.
Chevelle, Tool, that kind of jam.
Okay, yeah,
And that's the band I'm in now. Still, like I still play out and try to travel a little bit and play gigs.
that's awesome.
Like summer's
And
coming up.
Wirehead, do you still do gigs?
No, man, no. I'm well out of the game.
Yeah, I'm out of the game too.
Still got all my still got my instruments and stuff, like a couple of good basses and everything.
He's
Nice.
110%
But they're
game dev now.
just sitting there getting dust ever since pretty much when I started the game before I met Justwall, the Death Rings of Jupiter. I
Yes.
gave up on most Creative Pursuits except that one.
Which is an awesome
Because
game. You should play it.
I wanted to just
difficult.
be successful at making games. So I put all
Wait,
my time into that.
The Death Rings of Jupiter. It sounds awesome.
It's on Steam.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, it's on Steam.
Yeah, it's on
Death
Steam.
Rings of Jupiter. That's actually where the
my
first
first,
gifs I was seeing you post when I met you.
Yeah, that's when we met. I'd started on Twitter trying to promote that.
Yeah,
and that's how we met, right? And you streamed, like Marcus, you streamed it quite a few times.
Yeah, I bought the game and played it and
hang out in your streams while you were playing. You did pretty
got
good.
my ass kicked. I'm good at it now. Beat some bosses and stuff. But yeah, it's a challenge. But when we were making Terrene, like there were a bunch of times where we were like, let's put that thing from D-Raj, we call it, in here, and we like took all our. At one point, we were like trying to come up with ideas for Terrene, and so we just like started plucking things we did in other games out and putting them into Terrene because they were good ideas and they worked.
Stuff we liked and stuff that works.
Watching the trailer, I definitely see it. You know, like the inspiration and like the DNA of this game is in Terrene.
It is. Yeah,
that's so
it
cool.
is a lot of the just the way I've programmed, like the 2D kind of physics and all that. It's all pretty much exactly the same. Like just. Yeah, I've used all the same methods and stuff, maybe a little improved, but
you built an engine for
and
that
everything
game,
is
right?
very similar. I mean I used that's what's funny about it is it's actually a Flash game.
Oh, it's a Flash.
Oh
game.
wow!
And it's one script, like it's just one massive script, and it.
Oh my lord!
Anyway,
what?
It's like 20,000 line script, and it just because I didn't really know what I was doing. Like
awesome.
I've learned things, but there's no like includes. Like there's no. Normally you would break out all your stuff in a script, right, and then hash include all that stuff, and there's none of that. It's all just all the functions are written in all the one big script, and
wow.
It's
epic.
And it just uses Flash to. I don't know if you ever made a Flash game, but pretty much you would put a script on the first frame of the animation, and then that would just like control the game. So it's pretty much just that. It's one frame, and it just hits this script and then does everything from there.
That's so cool.
And I guess in the sense of an engine, it's sort of like Flash. I pretty much just used all the stuff to just draw to the screen. Like I'm drawing sprites from memory to the screen. There's no like use of the built-in objects in Flash or anything like that. It's all just drawing to the screen from data, pretty much. So
that's still super impressive.
It was amazing.
Thanks, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, you did an update to that after a bit. I remember helping you with that.
I think I did 7 updates to that. I think.
Did you? Yeah. I only helped you with
one.
I
think I learned a lot from that, like heaps. Like that was 3 years of that took 3 years, and it was pretty. What's the word?
Overwhelming.
Not grueling, but like
arduous.
I gave up a few times. You know, like I'm just like, no, this is just too hard. I'm not, and I couldn't overcome certain bugs, and
there
was certain jitters because that's all like drawn to a very small pixel size and then zoomed in, and there was heaps of jitter and stuff moving those pixels around. Like there's a thing called, I think it's pixel jitter. It's when it's like it can't decide which pixel it's on, so it's like flicking between them.
Okay.
Overcoming all that was very. I gave up a bunch of times, and I'm like, I cannot fix this. Like it's just so ugly, but I got there. And then I had like, and then no one played it. I was so keen, and I released it, and I was just so like, I was so gutted by it all because I lived in a vacuum making it, and I never got anyone to test it. Like I played.
Oh, you didn't put it on Newgrounds or anything like that?
No, I never. I didn't really know the channels, and I didn't really know anybody, and I just kind of. No one around me really would test it for me, I guess. I don't know. Sure. I think I just kept it all pretty closed, and I was a bit scared of sending it to people. Maybe like,
Well, that was your
to get
first
feedback. And
game. You'd done some games when you were younger and stuff, just little things,
yeah,
right?
I made a lot of smaller games. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got your start in Flash then?
No, I didn't. I moved to that later. Do you want the
What'd you
story?
start
Or?
with? Yeah,
Um,
dive
I
into it.
started with so my dad was a huge computer guy, like he still is. But so when I was born, there was computers in the house, like
That's so
Ataris
cool.
and Commodores and older things. So I started with those. I don't know if you ever saw, but like when those early computers were around, you could buy like a magazine and it would have a whole game in code, and you would have to go and type the whole thing out of the
I've heard of
magazine
these.
into the DOS or whatever, like on the Commodore 64. You type
Sure.
out the whole game and then hit run, and it would, and you'd get to play the game. And it was just, I started with that, and then Dad gave me some books about learning BASIC, and then when I was a teenager, I got the Amos Game Maker on Amiga, which is it's all basic. It's called Amos Basic, and it's all and learned to make some stuff with that, and then I learned some Visual Basic at school, and then started making a few games using that, um, but without any kind of graphics layer. Like I didn't understand how to use I think it's STL, like Symbol Direct Layer. I couldn't understand that. So I just used like image boxes, and I made like grid-based games and stuff with Visual Basic.
That's really interesting.
And then I think I did a course in digital art, and in that was a Flash component, and that's where I learned to make Flash animations. And then I worked out I could use it to actually just make games and stuff. So I kind of went from that for a good decade, probably, until ActionScript. I learned ActionScript 3 when it came out, and that's a lot better for games. And then I used what was called Adobe Air to make Death Rings.
Adobe Air.
Adobe Air was like it was made for like mobile games, I think.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it had you could like full screen shit and have like controllers and stuff. It had a bit more game elements, and it had touch screen stuff in it, so you could use it on mobile phones like Androids and stuff. And that's it. And I made that.
And then at some point, you guys came across Game Maker, right?
And then
Right.
I met Justwall, and you're in Game Maker, and
Yeah, I was in there.
we made EOL. And then after that, I think I said, all right, I got to start learning this thing.
Right.
And I made Hell of Ant.
Yeah, you met me after I released Arboretum, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I had met you through that. Yeah, that was like right around the time you released Death Rings, or a little after.
I reckon.
And then,
Yeah.
but before that, I had Earl Grey. That was like my first game. That I mean, it's all right. It's brutal and it needs features, and I built it all wrong. And but it's like it's just one of those
I
things you
played
got to
that.
do it.
I played that first, I think,
Did you play that
out
one?
of
Yeah.
your stuff. I'm pretty sure I saw you tweeting about it, and that's when we was Earl Grey.
Right. But before that, I
You
really just
saw
wanted to make
you were
music
using
for games. But
some other app when you were younger, though, weren't you, to make games?
yeah, when I was really young, we had Macintoshes, the little ones that were like all one unit with the mouse with one button. I don't even know what
Yeah.
exactly that thing was, but it had HyperCard on it, and I'd basically
Oh, I
make
remember
Oh, that's
HyperCard.
right.
click
Hypercard.
games,
Yeah.
and you could click it and make it like go through multiple frames at a time, so it would animate things. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I'd fuck with that and make games about my friends and be like, "Who do you want to kill?" Right? And then like I'd make it kill them. Right? There's always shock value that won then. Um, but then it's like for the longest time I dabbled in stuff like Unreal 3, I think it was, so forever ago, and then I played around in Unity a bunch, and then I played in a engine called Stencil. It was a 2D
Okay.
thing. I made a couple Flash games in that. I made like a point and click adventure type thing where you have to find keys, and so I got into all these different things. It's like the talent I have is I can just go into applications and figure it out. I know like 30 of
Sure.
them for my day job, right? Like just as many. Keep giving them to me, I'll figure them out, right? Like So I found it like fun to like learn new DAWs, for music, and
Sure.
and just and learn video editing. And once I got really into some of those really complex programs, I'm like, well, I wonder what a game engine's like. And I got into a game engine. I'm like, oh, this is just like an art program with a video editing program, but you just put little frames together as opposed to like cutting clips apart. It's very similar, right? Like, and so I found myself doing that more than wanting to play games, but it was fulfilling the same thing, right? Like, it
Sure.
was fulfilling that same
I'm a
feeling of playing games as making games.
I'm a bit like that too. I kind of get so
It's
much
kind of
enjoyment
addicting
out of
too.
it. It's hard. It is, yeah. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, I should play a game tonight, and I just end up, working on something all night instead.
See, I always end up playing something like Factorio that feels like game dev, like some crazy mind-breaking game that breaks my mind. But I've also done a lot of experimental game development. I used to make a game on every Sunday on stream. So like
Oh wow.
start to finish. Like it was done and I was posting it at the end of the stream, right? So like you got what you got. And so I put, for some reason, those all went to Game Jolt. There were so many sites to
Sure.
go on that I just was like, well, I guess I'll put my weird shit over here.
It's not a bad spot for it.
And so I made a bunch of weird Atari looking stuff and things that would definitely give people seizures. And yeah, it was awesome. It's good times. And I've been in
Jeez.
the garbage. What's it called? Game Breakers Toolkit Jam, where
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
it's just make the worst. Like they judge you on how bad the game is, so you try to make it absolutely terrible. Those are really fun to me. Like, but me and Wirehead did one jam one time. You
Yep.
want to tell them about this
It was good.
beautiful game that we made?
Oh yeah. It's, and the Fluffy brand has remained in a few of our games.
It has.
Is Fluffy Hat Co. Where you make beautiful hats, but you have to get the furs first off the cute animals,
Yeah.
and it's kind of needlessly violent and hilarious. I think
Yeah.
Understood.
quite crude, yeah, but
Gruesome.
very pixelated as well. It was like such a low resolution,
It was super low.
120 wide or something. Like it was hilarious.
We made it in 2 sessions, like 2 nights, basically.
2 days or something. Yeah.
But yeah,
Like a Happy Tree Friends vibe.
yes,
Exactly that vibe.
but more
except,
murderous, like, and
Except
horror.
you're inflicting the damage rather than the happy friends doing it to you.
Right.
But the fluffy company has been everywhere. So like all those weird things that we've done, they're all in Terrene, right?
Oh, that's cool.
I
Little
made
references.
Fluffy Cleaning Co. after that, I think.
He made another game,
was,
which was a clone of something, right? Like or a
Jet Set Willy
Yeah.
on Commodore 64.
And that one still gets
made
quite a bit of traffic. There was an
it
article
does,
written
yeah,
about it and stuff, and
I think it actually is. It's probably the only game that still has downloads every week, one or
right.
two.
Like even the creator
there's
of
a
the
retro-
original game, like knew of it, if I believe.
I hassled him on Twitter. Yeah,
That's right.
Oh, the guy that he ported the Spectrum version to Commodore 64.
Okay.
And it's a little bit different. It has its own kind of vibe, but he ported it. The guy that made Jet Set Willy, I think he's like kind of vanished.
Right.
I don't think he's contactable.
So you gotta remember, we're like old dudes, man. Like we've been around for a long time.
That was Fluffy Cleaning Co. and it had some references in there to different things. It
Right.
had Cyberpup and it had
Cyberpup.
Lord Syphilis.
Yeah, it had Lord Syphilis
as a character,
correct.
which was one of Justwall's. It was like a streaming character.
I had an
Lord
alter
Syphilis.
ego.
An alter ego. Some Satan kind of dude.
yeah. I would play Minecraft and just destroy the villages. That's pretty much what.
That's right. I remember. Yeah.
Light them on fire and
Terrene,
stuff.
in Terrene, you can get the mite skins.
Oh yeah.
And return them to the robot on the orbiter, and he'll give you hats. That's how you earn the hats.
Right. So
Yeah.
so the hats exist in Terrene, and you can wear them.
And you have to get the skins off the little mites
That's so cool.
and take them back. I don't know if there's any other references, maybe, but
Yeah. For the longest time, we did all that. Yeah.
Fluffy Co. That's with one F, L-U-F-Y. Fluffy Co.
That's what we're gonna push here. It's our agenda is to push the fluffy
But
co.
you try to Google that, and it just recommends the proper word.
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of, as you can tell, like a lot of old school stuff from us, man. Like
Nothing wrong with that.
Ataris
Y-
and
You fit right in with the rest of the people I have on the show,
that's
honestly.
good. Yeah, this one here too is Dig Dug was a huge inspiration, at least for me.
Sure.
Like when we first started making Terrene, I wanted to make Risk of Rain meets Dig Dug, and that was what was in my mind, right?
That's pretty awesome.
Because I liked both of
It's
those.
got some real Dig Dug vibe, but it certainly does.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that, but yeah, that was the original Terraria.
and I love Metroid.
We should
Metroids.
we should
Oh,
make
yeah.
it. You can shoot that beam into the enemies
Inflate
and
them.
make them and inflate them. Yeah, that'd
Oh
be fun.
yeah, yeah. I never thought about
It's the
that.
only thing that's missing. Yeah.
Do some mods.
So there you go. So after all of these years, yeah, and you said, Justwall, that you like to work in different applications.
Yeah.
What's making you stick with Game Maker for this long?
I think it's just the workflow. Like we've got this like down to a science to where it works really comfortably. We've actually discussed like because we're just making a new project now, and we were like, do we switch engines with this? And just like, well, we just kind of want it to be fun and easy, and not learning a new engine right now. You know,
Yeah, no, I can
Yeah,
understand
it's a
that.
different vibe. You can't. We could, you know.
That'll be a 6 month sort of delay probably to start learning. I don't think I could learn something new without making a couple of projects first. And
Right.
Oh yeah, and you're going to be learning that whole time, and it's going to slow everything
It's like
down.
a year.
I totally understand
Yeah.
that.
Well, and
you go down paths that aren't the best
we did
to
something
Yeah.
achieve
instead of
things.
that,
You know what I mean?
right?
And then you end up having to rewrite stuff. Yeah, I think like using Game Maker so long, and especially Terrene, like I've learned how to wrangle a lot of it. Like
Oh, I bet.
I can wrangle it pretty good.
Right.
Now, when
now.
you guys, or Justwall, you had a earlier start with Game Maker. Was it Game Maker Studio 2 already, or was
Yeah.
it? Yeah, okay. Because I remember back before it was Game Maker Studio, and that was like, and the software was quite a bit different.
1.4
And
or
that's
whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've opened that before and
It's weird,
messed
right?
around in it. It's the same logic for the most part, but yeah, it's definitely weird. I started on Studio, so it is weird to go back to that one. It's free though. Or
Oh,
do
interesting.
they have a free one now for Studio? I feel like there's a free Studio now.
Yeah, I think it's free, but you can't build anything
Or
unless
it's
they
the
change that.
GX games that like yeah, they like
Yeah,
force
I
you to
think
go to
they.
some
I think
website
they.
and download the
Yeah,
game.
something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, some
I
weird
feel like they
shady
might have
stuff.
changed it. I feel like they
Well,
might
at
have
least
changed it
you don't
to let
have
you
to
build now, but not sure.
you don't have to split your royalties, at least, right?
That is true. Yeah, there's none of that going on. You know, to get the game engine that will actually export to like Xbox is quite pricey though. I think it's like $80 a month.
Oh, for the license. Yeah.
Yeah, just so that you can.
And then it
Enterprise,
sounds
yeah.
like it's not very easy to do either.
Super difficult. I
No.
got all that part set up and out through the SDKs. That was quite difficult. The game maker side, but the game maker side with Wirehead's help was achievable.
We got it working.
It was getting it out
It's
of the PC into the whole Xbox network. But what Wirehead was
Tough.
talking about earlier though about like switching engines, instead of taking that
Sure.
6 months to do that, instead he just went off to the side and like built this amazing default file that's got like all the controller and keyboard key bindings and all a menu set up and all the boring garbage that you have to do every time you start a new project.
The boilerplate stuff.
And it's just all ready to go. And it's a thing of beauty, man. It is like,
it sounds priceless.
Yeah,
it's good, man.
It's
You can just sort of
$1,000.
start a
Maybe
project
checks out to
off it, and then yeah, no, it's good, man. And a lot of that's copied and pasted from things I've done in Terrene, but I just sort of tied it into one package, and you can just roll a
Called
game out of
experience.
it.
Yeah, and you optimized a bunch of the stuff that was like, I remember you going like, man, I did that in Terrene and it was good, but it was chaos. So now it's all smoothed out and much easier to manage. And that's some of the hardest stuff you don't realize you have to do as a game developer. When you first get in it, you're like, okay, I got a player and I got to make the player move. And then you don't start realizing like, I need a main menu and I need to be able to turn sound up and down. And you didn't plan for any of that.
Yeah.
You know, and so like everything, all the sounds are in there and there's no way to affect them.
Yeah, it's got a sound, built in, the sound player and the music player.
Right, you got
all the options, music levels, and all your custom controls are ready to go. You can just go and change them all.
Your basic save files, right, are ready.
Like basic saves and opening, then like having the game run and then closing off back to the main menu, that sort of stuff. That's all done. That all you need to do.
Well, it sounds like you're highly motivated. Let's talk a little bit about this new project. I mean, you guys are staying in the vein of survival. It sounds like.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
And what's the title of it?
It's called The Hunter's Path.
You can go for it.
The Hunter's Path.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so it's an interesting take on like the survival, but / hunting game genre. So we're trying to it's a top down, completely top down, like a helicopter top down, I guess they call it. I don't know exactly, because sometimes people call 3/4 view top down. Anyways.
Sure.
It's not that. Yeah.
It's not 3/4 view, it's straight down. Yeah. So, different, right? And so, not procedurally generated. We're going to handcraft some worlds and have different game modes of like, extreme survival and like regular survival and, hunt the bears and have just a bunch of different scenarios that we can handcraft and build out and balance individually. Something a little different but we, he wanted to make a hunting game. He's like, man, we should make something that's like hunting. I'm like, man, we should make something that's like survival. I'm like, well, let's just make both.
Yeah.
That goes well together.
And they work together. So I don't know. It's been really fun. The art direction is much different. I draw it first on a piece of paper, and then I photograph that and I put that into, it's paint.net and do some editing there and shrink it down to a more pixel art world, and then then I just fill it in how I want and do like the pixel shading and stuff on there. So it's kind of like this combination of hand drawn, but it's still pixel art, but it's much larger than Terrene. It's like 64 by 64. Terrene is like
the sprite sizes.
Yeah, Terrene is 13 by 13. We chose the unlucky number, so yeah.
Interesting choice.
So much.
I like 13 by 13.
What's that?
Gives you a center pixel in the thing. 13 by 13. I liked it.
Yeah, it worked really good.
You've got
it
6 either
nice.
side, and there's one pixel right in the center.
Yeah,
makes it really helpful for I don't know, collisions,
placing things,
something, and placing things. Yeah,
just
drawing things. It's good to have that middle pixel, I guess.
I like it, but it's just something that you don't really think of and you don't ever hear about.
Right.
Usually, it's always 16 or 32 or 64.
Right.
Multiples of 2 or 4, right?
And dare you go into the very difficult 128? Holy moly! The expert pixeling, I always call that.
It looks good though, right? I like the approach and that we've gone into like proper, a proper size. So it's probably not pixel art anymore. Maybe it's just art. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess
but I like it.
You could say Wirehead
it's not chunky. It's not chunky like all of our other games.
No.
Now your other games have a lot of like a difference in theme. I'll say like in this Hunter's Path, it's more contemporary feeling, right?
Right.
definitely, yeah. Not sci-fi.
Well, was there any reasoning behind that, or was it just like something fresh and new?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, like, we know we make cool
Did
sci-fi
we
games, but like, it's good to
did
have
we
a
have
break.
that? I think we had that. I think we had that discussion, yeah, that we would not make sci-fi because we always make sci-fi.
Well, yeah, and we just worked on a sci-fi game for
Did
like
I
4
mention it? I
years.
think we did. We did have that. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
and it's so easy to just. I mean, the game we're making now, you could. We just talked about that. We could like put laser guns and aliens in
And
it, and it's
planet.
the same game, but you call it sci-fi
Mine
now, and
stuff,
it's
yeah.
like an alien planet again, and yeah.
So easy. Just change the player to a space suit, you know, space helmet on.
It could be an evidence of life game.
Could be. Yeah,
It could be, yeah.
So we're just trying to veer off the beaten path.
It's
Like,
got to get some hats in there.
you know, what we are
It's
excited about
it's
well, I just mean me,
Yeah,
like looking at what Wirehead's putting together. You know, that feeling of, you ever played Zomboid, where you can like drop stuff on the ground and it's just actually there, and then you can like pick that thing up and you can go over and like put that into a chest, or like maybe equip it, right? Because maybe what you're dropping on the ground is a gun, right? And you can then pick that up and then you can equip that, and now you can use that gun. That's like the kind of stuff that is coming together so
Yeah.
far, and I think that stuff's really cool to me.
Cool.
yeah, that's the stuff I did first. Again, like the crafting. This one is more complex, just in that you can have as many things as you want in a recipe, and those can have a count. So, like Terrene had, you could put 2 things together and make a thing.
Yeah.
It was never like, you can have 3 things to make a thing, But so I pre-made the crafting system, so you can just tell it what sort of, this recipe needs these 3 items and 10 of that one and 20 of this one, and it's just I did all that first, and then I did the inventory system like first,
Right.
because that stuff is tiring, right?
What we just
Yeah.
we just
So
put
we did that game base,
so many
and then
things in.
got test objects working, and then just did all that item stuff straight up off the bat.
Yeah, and so we're
Sounds like you got most of the hard stuff out of the way already.
That's what I'm trying to do, yeah. And then I got energy to just. And so what we've done is that it has like a map editor. It's more like map based, right?
Okay.
So there's going to be a bunch of different scenarios, or you can call them maps. And there's levels, right? And so it's got.
Sure.
We've made it with a built-in like map editor, so that we can just make the scenarios ourselves. I don't need to be coding anything. Like Justwall can just be making levels or working on his maps, whatever.
Yeah, and that's so awesome, because I can load it up in my game maker, and I don't have to be in the source code. It's just a version of the game.
Yeah.
He could still be overworking in the source code, but I can be building out maps and then backing up from local data to, like, that's my map save. And so then I get a new
Wow.
version, and I get it. It's because it's built within Game Maker, so it's something that he built.
It's like in game.
Yeah.
So you hit a key and it's in edit mode, and the game's still running. Like, and you can manipulate the objects in the world and add them and remove them, all that stuff.
So is that planned
Like-
as a developer tool or as a feature for the full game?
Just a developer tool for now, because
Interesting.
it's there's so many things that you could enter values in that just break the game. So it's like I would
Sure.
need to go through everything manually and work out the
Right.
limits.
Be a ton of bugs.
be a whole
limit
different game.
everything,
For
and
sure.
that's fine for us. Like, we know what can get broken, but yeah, I would love to do that later. But at the moment,
Sounds like a
Just wanna
lot more hard
get a
work.
game. Just want to get a game out. And,
If there's a want
but
for
the
it,
main
we will do the work. But it's
yeah,
like, it has to be a
the
want.
main reason is really just like getting all that hard stuff out of the way, and then we can just like enjoy making it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So how do you guys go about testing for this project? Are you doing it all internally? I know you guys haven't been doing it very long yet.
Yeah, we get to the point
Yeah,
to
it's a
where
very
it
early
like
stage.
builds. We're like, okay, this is the planned features we're going to put into it. We don't really test it. I mean, he's probably testing it when he's coding it here and there to make sure it works. But like, the actual
Sure.
QA cycle won't happen until it's like, okay, I think this is good. Let's
Yeah.
test this one up, because we don't waste a lot of time at first on it, for sure.
Right.
But then we
Yeah.
test.
Do you guys
Yeah,
have
that's right.
do you have like a Discord or like a mailing list or something for where you find QA people, or
No, I'm
have you accumulated people?
just myself and him, full QA.
Yeah.
Wow.
Until usually we have some version that we might give to some people, I guess,
Right, we've handed it out to
or
some people early for
to
some
get some feedback and stuff. But
Yeah.
So trusted
it's
individuals.
Yeah, some streamers that we know, or some people that we know. Yeah, sometimes that helps for that feedback.
Oh,
Once we
absolutely.
get like an actual build where we're like, me and him feel like I think this is cool, and I think this is what we want
yeah,
to release, then we don't mind giving it out to like a streamer to play before we release it, because that really helps too, to see live gameplay of it.
yeah, live playing.
But yeah,
For
It's
sure.
it's a very invaluable tool.
it is. Yeah.
You see the hiccups in the player
This time we're gonna do a
flow of the
demo,
game, sort of.
right? So that's like a little different.
Yeah,
We're working towards a demo, and that's what we want to get out so that people can play it and give us feedback. And so we've like cut end of the road, right? Like we've decided what we've drawn, and the features that we've chosen now is that's it. That's the demo. So even if there's other things we wanted to add, we can add those later. But we just want to get kind of the first thoughts onto into reality, and
Yeah.
get some people to play
Steam
it.
demo is a good plan.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, and then after that, once we get some feedback, we'll just probably go heads down for a while and figure stuff out and fix things and tweak things and add things, and do some type of Steam release, right?
Cool. Well, I can't wait to be part of that and hopefully test it with you guys, or at the very least purchase it when it's finally ready.
Yeah. Oh man,
Sounds fun.
you just ride us. We're really laid back.
I'll
Like
I'll probably give you a copy, man. It's all right.
yeah, yeah,
Ah,
absolutely.
well, I don't mind. I don't mind supporting devs either.
Give you a key.
Right. Yeah, I
But
don't.
yeah, the demo is yeah,
Like
that's
I love
fast.
beta testing, so I
Yeah.
mean, totally throw me early copies, but I don't mind paying for a full release at all, especially devs that I know and have interviewed. Like I support devs for sure.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I love that stuff. I mean, that's kind of how I ran into Wirehead, because I would just pick a random game. I would just from a dev that was on my Twitter, and I would just buy it and play it, and then write on Twitter what I thought. Right? That's just was can't even remember what I called it.
That's
Probably had some hashtag.
how you do it.
But I just bought his game one day, and then I played that, and I wrote about it, and it just leads you
That's so
to
cool.
where you go. It's an
So
epic journey.
it sounds like you started networking first, Justwall. What was that like for you when you first started? Because that was probably a while ago now.
Like social networking for game dev.
Yeah, reaching out to other game devs and providing feedback or game jams, perhaps, or whatever
Right.
your journey was.
I wanted to. I was learning MIDI and learning like Reason and a bunch of DAWs, and trying to write music for video games. And so the most people I reached out to initially was people who were already making games, and asking them if they wanted me to do their music, and sending them like a sample, right? That whole thing.
I see.
And I quickly realized that people hate that.
Well,
And
there's just a million of them is the
exactly
problem.
right.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, so I don't want to do that, and I hate the feeling of doing that. So I'm just gonna have to, I guess, make my own games to make music for. So that's just kind of what started me down the path of learning to make games. Right?
And chatting with other
And
devs.
chatting with other devs, because it wasn't that. Once I did the solo thing long enough that I felt like I wasn't a complete noob. I just then I was like, I can get more accomplished with other people, right? And it was challenging. I worked with a few people, of course, that they started, like, once they started drawing a full game, they didn't want to do it anymore, right? Because it's a lot to draw, man.
Sure.
It's like
And it is.
Oh, yeah.
endless
It
art.
is. Yeah.
Like, it's not like you can draw me a little
So
player
many frames.
and a
Yeah.
sword and now we're done. Like,
No.
I need animations and and yeah. So it wasn't until I met Wirehead that it really worked. But I through all the socials though, I met so many cool streamers and so many cool game devs, right? And it's not that no, we didn't work together. You just know when you're going to work together, right? Everyone's doing their own thing. They got their own hustle. I love to see. And you were talking about long play games. Chatted with him many times.
Yeah.
There's so many game developers. I wish that my memory was better because there's so many of them. Like Schmidt, the guy who did. I gotta go to my Steam library.
Oh yeah. He's nice. I've been commenting on his stuff randomly. Did he make Khalif? Islands of Khalif? Is that
Islands
him?
of Khalif. Yep, that is him.
And the space that's like a No Man's Sky esque. Is that him?
Yeah, that is him. Schmidt
He's like
Workshops.
updating it more again. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good game.
There's so many.
Star
There's
Explorers.
so many shout outs that I should give that I'm just not prepared to, and I should be.
Oh, that's okay.
'Cause there's some,
I'm unfamiliar with Schmidt Workshops, actually.
yeah, he's
Oh, really?
in the Midwest with you there. I think he's Chicago based or Illinois based.
Oh, I have seen his game though. Looking at the gifs, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah, it's Star
Yeah, I think
Star
The first
Explorers that
person.
I played a bunch
yeah,
of.
Star Explorers.
I
Yeah, it's
love
good.
that game.
He's
Oh,
been
okay.
He's been updating it again.
I know I always see him coming
Recently.
back. I'm like, oh man, I need to jump back in there.
Yeah.
But it's it's super indie, and we
Wanna
love it.
wait
It's
till he-
retro and
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he's added there.
and then there's we've chatted and hung out with Monster Finger Games quite a few times. I always wonder where what were the duck developers, dude?
Oh yeah.
What the heck was their name?
Something Suspicious
Ducks. Man, so there's like
They
so
like,
many devs that have popped up and
Yeah.
they're MIA forever. They're just gone. I haven't seen them for
Yeah,
4
there's a lot
years, 5 years.
comes
Well,
and goes. I
Twitter's
feel like there's
at a bit of a
even
low
more.
point.
Yeah, but you,
Yeah.
Rick Auckland,
What are
I've
you doing?
seen you forever on Twitter. I feel like I've known you since 2018 on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, I started posting retro Spaceball stuff in 2017.
That's when I joined.
At the end of 2017.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for real? 2017.
That's when you and me that's when Death Rings was going on.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
interesting.
released 2017, I think.
I'm still working
December.
on the same project.
But it's how it works, right? Like, well, me and Wirehead were talking about it. We both played the demo.
Oh, did you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played it.
I feel like
Yeah.
I played it
Nice. Thank you.
multiple
I played it.
times.
I played it this time last year, I reckon.
Was it? Yeah.
I haven't played it since then. I think you just put out a demo, a new one or something.
That was probably the last update. Unfortunately, I have been kind of slacking. I've been doing other stuff with work and stuff.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's due
What's
for an update.
and what's that other project you
I'm working on a
producing
Game Boy
it?
game now too.
That's it.
It's called Source Hack.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I'm talking about that other one. Something
Which
about
other one?
monsters in a
Oh, Little Screamies.
experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my day job.
Team. Oh,
Yeah,
that's your
so
day job. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I manage a team for my day job.
Oh, very
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're managing the team. Is that what you're doing? Or are you doing coding as well?
Yeah, so I'm managing the team and doing development.
And
So
dev. Oh,
basically
very cool.
the jack of all trades
Right.
and managing the team.
Well, that's wonderful.
Um,
That's wonderful that you've been getting into it on a professional level, man. I mean, 'cause
Yeah,
nothing
it
matters.
took a long
Awesome.
time to get to this point.
Yeah, it always does, right?
I graduated college in 2009. So
Right. Did you do development in college?
I did 3D animation and modeling.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
So do you?
Awesome.
I mean, I've always
Yeah.
seen 2D retro stuff from you. Have you worked in
Right.
like? Do you like working in 3D or like? I mean, 2D
I
is
like
probably
both.
your preference. I like 2D myself. Like, it's a little easier. But
honestly, I don't really have a preference. I genuinely enjoy both.
Right.
Pixel art is still kind of new to me, to be honest, because I didn't start taking it seriously until 2017.
Right. But you like
So
filmed some epic like things crushing into the ground and stuff. Like I've seen what you've been doing. Like you're drawing on an epic level, you know. And that stuff is
yeah, that took me months to do.
not easy, right? Like it's I watched the beginning of Hyper Light Drifter or something, and I'll be like, wow, one of those pictures would have taken me like so
Yeah,
long to draw.
yeah.
Like so yeah.
The bar just keeps getting raised, so it's
No, I
like,
know. You can't keep up, man. Like
yeah,
yeah, that's why I always saying
Yeah,
like
I find that that pixel art where it's got like dense frames. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just so smooth that every frame in between each part of a really complex drawing is just
There's some people out there, man, they
so much
pixel
time. Eh? How do
skies.
you do that? Yeah,
Pixel like the
it's so much
sky, it
time.
looks all perfect and stuff. I'm like I quit. Well, I always say this thing
yeah.
about
It's fun,
like
but
music, like
it's tiring. Yeah.
it's dev is like very similar to music. I always make the reference, but like it's better to have somebody who's just solid at what they do in your band than to have the prodigy.
Like a showboat.
No,
Yeah.
not even a showboat, just like a prodigy, somebody who's just like so good at it, right? You don't have to be that good. As long as you're solid, it may take you longer, it may take you less. You just want to do what you're supposed to do and do it right. Like me as a bass player in a band, I just have to play the bass line. And I should try to play that as perfectly as possible. But I shouldn't be concerned about what the drums are doing or what the guitar is doing. I should just be worried about my piece, right? Like uh, and game development feels a lot like that to me. It's like
And I think
I
just
agree.
turning up is a good thing too with like bands and stuff.
yeah.
Like even if you're not the prodigy, like you can, commit to time and show up is
Oh yeah, as long as you
It's
can
really
make
a great
chunk of junk
metaphor.
such a
riffs.
bonus.
Yeah.
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 To me, it like the most important part of a band member was always how well they listened.
Yeah.
And the same is true for game dev. Because
Totally.
if you have a team member who you think hears you, but they don't hear you, they've come up with their own interpretation in their head, and then they say, "Yeah, I got that," and then they go and try something. They might not do it correctly.
Yeah.
They might have a different interpretation completely of how the game's design is supposed to go, and that
Oh man, I work with that on a daily basis. I work for a web development company, and we have
sure.
outsourced developers who actually physically don't really speak English, and so yeah, that not understanding thing happens a lot, right? Like because they're embarrassed that they don't want to say I don't understand, and so they're like, yeah, I got it, and away they
Or
go.
even they genuinely think they got
They
it.
do, yeah,
You know,
true, exactly. So yeah, development is a is a challenge, and it just depends on how big your team is. The
It's
two of us is perfect, right? Two is
we do
great.
that pretty well.
Yeah.
Like I think, but we both kind of have. I know that sometimes I communicate stuff. Maybe it doesn't make sense until I kind of
That's,
build it or show you. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And you do the same a bit, but we always end up on the same page,
Dude,
right?
it's just
Like,
because you drive on the wrong side of the road, man. You know that, right?
it is, but like, yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
I do. No, I totally get it.
we listen to each other,
I
right, and
do.
we try to understand what the other person's trying to say. I think.
Yeah,
So,
we never really argued. We always just been like, yeah, that's cool. I don't know if I agree. What else could we do, right? Like we always have a good attitude. Like, is there anything I can do to help?
yeah,
Um,
definitely not being precious is
yeah.
important
But
with that stuff.
I pushed you hard sometimes. Like we
Yeah,
get stuff
a little
done.
bit.
I'm the lead, right? I'm always pushing her. Like, what are we working on? What's going on? What's happening? But now
Yeah,
lately, you've
no,
been
it's good.
just going off Zoom and coming back with crazy map editors and stuff. I'm like, what? Cool. That's
I
awesome. Like,
we yeah. Well, we've worked together long enough.
Oh yeah, it's been like
If I say I'm gonna
5 years
do
now,
something like that,
6 years.
I'll do it. I'll do it for sure, or I'll tell you if I'm not. And yeah.
So let me ask a question, and you can both give your
All
answer.
right.
What's the best part of making games?
Um,
Oh yeah. Do you want
I'll
me first? You first?
I can go. Yeah, I'll just. I think
Go on.
the best part of making games to me is just having that project and having that like kind of what Wirehead was saying. There's just something in my life that I'm doing, and the feeling I get to just put on the headphones and do some art, or to like sit down and try to write some music. It's like rejuvenating, I guess I would call it, right? So just
Sure.
that the whole creation process to me um, is the funnest. But lately, I've really enjoyed art the most. It just feels like the chillest thing to do, and I can have as much of a head change as I want. And it still turns out pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you, Wirehead?
Probably the same sort of thing, but like I just like I like the work and making stuff, but I think I like just I like playing the games. Like, when you have the idea of what the game is going to be and you're just so excited about when it's done, actually playing it, um I love that. I love the idea of getting to that point where it's the game that you want it to be, kind of thing. Like, I love that.
Sure.
And I like definitely with this game and from Terrene, I think I've learned that because I was always trying to make like the ultimate game. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just like get carried away and you want it to be like the best game in the world. And I realized like from like finishing Terrene or getting to the end of that, and like I just really enjoyed playing it. That I'm just happy making like a good game that I like. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Those are great
I I,
answers.
I think that's yeah. I think not trying to make the world's greatest game is like it makes me a lot happier. Like, and I'm just so stoked to be making like a good game.
Yeah.
And playing
Takes the
Terrene
pressure off a little bit too.
on Steam Deck once we got that last version done, and just like just playing that every night on Steam Deck and just really enjoying it
Yeah, man.
was
You played
was so
a
good,
lot.
man.
Yeah, we did good, right? It's that
Yeah,
feeling of like, we did it, like
absolutely. And I'd sort of be playing. I'm like, I really like this game. Like, I'm happy. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I like that. And I think just aiming to make a good game that you like is, yeah, I think that's it's gold. So
Yeah. I wish more devs were that passionate about like their own like
I think
personality
Yeah.
being in the game like
yeah.
that.
I mean, for me, it's come from like finishing games. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's hard, it's easy to get caught up when you haven't knocked it over and got to the end of it
Yeah.
to
Sure.
see what it's like. I guess maybe I know a lot of devs do finished projects. I guess, but maybe some that are frustrated just haven't got to the end enough times.
Yeah. Yeah, you start getting the
Yeah.
mental checklist of what it truly takes. Sometimes before you hit file new, you're like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, that's here we go again, right? Yeah.
Here we go.
But
Yeah, it took me a while. It was starting that like base game base.
yeah. Well,
I was procrastinating
we
for
take
ages because
breaks
I'm like, I
though,
know
right?
it's
Like
gonna be intense, and I know I've just got to plow through it. But
we would just take a
we
couple
do,
months
yeah.
off after a big build and just chill and play games, and it's really no pressure around here. Like if someone's sick or something, you're sick. Like no one's waiting on this. There's no one knocking down our
No,
doors. There's no reason to stress out. And I think that sometimes collaborations get that way because one person's like, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, and the other person's like, whoa, chill the fuck out, right? Like, and then it just
yeah,
kind of
you got to
falls
like
apart.
live life as
Yeah.
well. Yeah,
So me, I think
yeah, energy.
I mean, there's so many reasons why a team might
might
fall
fall
apart.
apart. Yeah,
You
and
know.
it's usually
I mean,
personalities, and
well, people
work
change.
ethic and
Work ethic,
being into the game,
money,
money. Like
Money and time,
yeah,
your
or even
families
distance.
need you, and
distance.
all that stuff.
Yeah, we've been through so much. I feel like he's my brother now. It's kind of weird. Like I talk to him so much, and it's just like every day I'm like, "Yo, what's up, dude?" You know.
Are you
Yeah, we
guys
talk
gonna make plans
most
to
days.
hang out
We
sometime?
have to. We said we were always like trying to make
One
enough
day.
money from
Yeah.
a game to fly both us to Hawaii because that's like about halfway, and it's also paradise, right?
It's a good plan.
Yeah, so we
Yeah,
just
Hawaii's
Yeah.
nice.
connect there, have a nice tropical
Get on
chill
it.
time.
Yep.
Have
Get on it. Get a buzz on,
yeah,
as they say.
have one of those drinks with the little umbrellas in it.
With a umbrella. Yeah, nice.
We'll probably hold hands. I don't even know.
I kind of regret, like, because just before COVID, I think like I'd sort of saved the most money like I'd ever had, and
Right. I remember you
I
saying you
wish
might come out here.
I wish I'd just got a ticket and come over. Like I just, the only reason it was just myself really was stopping me.
It's
Should
a
just
lot.
done
Personally,
it.
I almost feel like Australia might be more interesting than the States, but then again, I'm biased. So.
Right. I think Wirehead would have
What
fun.
part of Australia are you at? Wirehead?
I'm in northern New South Wales, which is like basically
Okay.
in Queensland. So
Sure.
two states on the east side of Australia. So yeah, I'm east coast.
Right.
Are
I'm right at
you
the top
Closest to
of the
what?
middle
Brisbane?
state. Closest to Queensland. Yeah, Brisbane is the capital of Queensland.
Yeah.
are you
Mate.
familiar with Anthony from Radio Bush?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah, I
I
had
haven't
him
talked
on
to
the
him
show
heaps.
recently.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him heaps, but yeah, I know he's Tasmanian. I think
He
we've
actually moved from
changed
Tasmania
some.
to the mainland.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he went to Melbourne.
Oh,
Yep.
he
Yeah,
went over and
I watched his video about it. And
cool.
Small world.
yeah, he seems like a nice dude. I went and played all his old projects the other day, actually,
Oh,
just
did
to
you?
see what he'd made.
Oh,
Yeah,
I never gone down
because I'd
his
only
rabbit
seen
hole.
Light Haze World and that, and I thought, I wonder if he's got some other stuff floating around. And
Right.
he's got a few projects there.
Does he? Oh man, I gotta
Can
check
see
out his
some
other
of
stuff.
some of the growth from where he came from. It's cool.
Yeah, I try to bounce in and out of his Discord when I can.
Yeah, he's got a pretty big Discord.
Dude, Discord's hard to keep up with though, am I right? Like
Oh yeah.
it's brutal. Like I love it all, but I have so many channels that I can't get to, and I feel like I almost feel guilt and like I'm neglecting or something from Discord.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
it
channels
can
are
be
always
like that.
maxed out.
Yeah.
I come across a new one that I want to join, I have to come up with one to delete.
Right. Oh yeah. Well,
That's a
Because I'm
good
not
rule.
going to pay it to be Nitro or whatever.
right.
You know?
I can't. Yeah. I can't.
Oh, is there a limit if you're not
Yeah,
nitro?
Yeah.
100 is the limit.
Interesting.
100.
I think it's 100, unless it's 99.
Yeah.
It's
You've hit the
something like
limit.
that.
You've got 100 channels.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I hit
Yeah,
the
see,
limit
I
a long time
can't.
ago, actually.
I can't. Like I need to. Like I'm glad that I work with Justwall because he does a lot of social media stuff,
Yeah.
and I know I should help, and I know I should do more, but I can't stand
We
it, and I just
split
want
it
to
up.
program games.
We split the work well,
We
man.
do.
Yeah. Like.
Like I feel so loathed to like make a GIF and post it on Twitter, like just doing the actual, like while I'm working, like cutting out some GIF, and just wrecks my
It
flow.
is
And
like a
I'm
whole
just
nother
like, I don't
job.
want to. I just want to do it. I just don't want
Yeah.
to do it.
So like
I
There's
love talking
like
to people
companies
on
literally
there.
hire people to do this.
they do
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I love talking to people on there, and I wish people. I feel like when we were hanging out when we met Justwall, like
Yeah.
people would comment all the time, and everyone would be talking.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I just leave comments for people and they respond, but
Yeah. It's a ghost town.
that's great. But I feel like no one else is doing it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like why aren't other devs in here like saying, "Hey, this is cool," blah 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 blah. Like
Yeah. There used to be a lot more feedback
I
back
feel
in
like
the
it's all drawn to like major channels or major, uh,
the
what do you
blue
call it?
Are
A
we
channel?
talking
verified
Discord or Twitter or
Twitter.
both?
Sorry,
Or?
I've gone onto Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Yeah, no,
And then, like,
Twitter has been through the ringer this last year or 2
that's
years.
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I feel like we all used to talk a lot more on there, and I try to keep it up and comment on people's stuff, but I feel like it's
Tough.
no
There's
one's
so many
doing
people that jump ship, and then
Yeah.
there's so many people that are just in it for personal growth.
Yeah.
They're just
And
it's
it's their
tweeting their
game. They're trying to
games
game
and
the
that's it. Yeah.
algorithm.
They're hitting the Wednesday showcase and
or the they're memeing it up.
Yeah.
There's so many memes. A dev the other day told me the only way to get seen on Twitter is to post memes.
Yeah. What's that code?
I don't agree with that.
Code. Oh, there's a guy with a balloon that does that, and
Oh yeah.
and gets like hundreds of things. I just go through there and really go. It's entertaining to me. I mean, I get it. You know?
Sometimes,
But
sometimes
I
it's
wanna-
just annoying.
I'm just lazy.
I want to
at
know
it, like-
why. Do you reckon like no one like hits like on shit? It's really weird. Like
I don't think people are seeing it.
You'd see-
man, like they used
you'd
to.
see your engagement. You'd see like there's been 100 views and like 1 like, and you're like, why is it so hard for people to just? Maybe they don't like it. So I don't know. I feel like it's a currency or something, but who cares?
It's just totally changed.
and
on
you
Yeah.
like
there.
on your friends' stuff, like help them get engagement. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean everything's changed. The landscape, the people on there, the algorithm, the bar is raised. There's
Yep.
the people who are paying to use the service now,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And almost all of them didn't have it before. You know what I mean? I mean some of them, but
so,
like a lot
They're
of those
new.
old users just jump ship. Like they just abandon their like. I'm looking through my old followers and seeing like, oh, this person last posted in 2021. This person last posted in 2019. Like, holy cow, And then sometimes, as well as I do that projects just end sometimes, whether the team has issues or there's a bug that can't be fixed or motivation issues or money runs out, life stuff happens,
Yeah.
people change.
I know, but you know what also makes
But-
me sad is when you find a developer that you love and you play their demo and it's wonderful and you can't wait and they have a Steam page and then you wishlist their game and you just wait there. You just wait there and it just says coming
Yeah.
soon and then coming soon. And now it's been like
You're
2.5
describing my game.
years. And no, I'm talking about a game called Little Martian. And if Three Martians
Little
is out there,
Martian.
please, for the love of God, release your game because I want to play it. You don't have to do it now.
What happened to Little Martian?
I don't know, but I love that game, and they're waiting for it. And I felt this was a good spot.
That was the little Metroidvania, wasn't it?
It was like a little survival game, but it was like you landed, and it was all
Oh, was
cute,
it?
and it was all just great pixel art. I believe they and I'm just talking out of
Oh, I
here.
remember.
I feel like they make asset packs. So I think they found something that was lucrative, is my guess. But I really wanted this
they're
game.
like making money there because game devs a lot
Which
of
is
work.
good.
So,
Go where the money's at. But just release this game. I love this game. It's so cute, and I want to tell people about it. So maybe there'll be a rush of wish lists there, and then they will release it. Be like, oh my gosh, we got a bunch more wish lists.
What's it called? Little Martian. I'm gonna have a look.
Oh, you never looked at it? Oh, I played the demo. It was so good.
Oh.
I loved it.
Never heard of
It's
it.
wonderful.
Maybe I have heard of it.
Wonderful game.
I remember seeing it, but that was forever
It
ago.
was.
now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, this game.
It's been years now. Yeah.
I think
want it.
about this sometimes. I thought he finished it. I thought it was all done and he'd moved on.
The version I played was.
But no,
was
it's
really
not.
Good.
It's actually not. It's not actually out.
I guess I should
Okay.
maybe go look on itch and not be a bastard, and because he probably has the full version on there, but just not on.
Yeah, I thought this looked so good.
I don't know.
And you told me it was really good.
There's lots of games out there that
I'm
wanted
gonna
to
find
play.
this one on the wish list. I'm gonna call out.
Yes.
Where is it?
Well, hearing you guys talk like this actually motivates me for my game because I'm sure there's people out there that
They're
are
thinking
feeling
the
the
same
same way.
thing.
I want this game to just come out.
Yeah, please. You got to. You have to. That's the hardest part of game dev, but you just got to do it, man. You just keep going. If you.
Oh, I'm still going.
Do you have
I've
a place in
slowed
your
down a lot,
mind
but
that's the done game? Like in your mind, do you know what makes it a done game?
I wish it was more of a secure thought, but yeah, at this point, I just want to work. I just want to make sure that the demo is polished. You know what I
Right,
mean? And then
right.
then I can start thinking about what the final game will
Now
be like.
you have a
It's,
demo on Steam.
on itch.
Oh, on itch.
Well, no, on itch. Yeah.
On itch,
So
yeah.
the thing is that the demo is just it's still not polished enough for me to feel comfortable putting it on Steam.
Makes sense.
It's still got a few little hiccups,
Yeah.
And now I'm like ironing things out with like a big iron, Probably cutting some things,
Right.
and
Yep, we've done a lot of
you
that.
know,
Cut
How
the
do
fat,
you
like
So
yeah,
I work like I'm like a real list guy. Like I have a list of things and I go from the top to the bottom, just smashing them.
yep,
Is that what you
yep.
do, or is it
So I
like
have a Trello that is just completely and utterly overfilled with
yeah?
stuff. So I
right.
I make a new list and I add it to the old list. So that just I've got tasks coming out of my ears.
I get those going, and I just go top to bottom. Just
Yeah.
occasionally, I might do like an easy thing to start off, like just to
Yeah,
get the juices flowing. But then I just go top to bottom, just fucking deal
Do
with
it.
it
We would go
because
through and get
it has to
one
be done, and I just
Trello.
go
We get one Trello card with one checklist for one
yeah.
version. So
yeah,
we would just
Way.
finish that one Trello card, and then we would release an update, or we would release that would be done, that portion, right?
And I like what helps for my motivation is that I just tick stuff off. Like I just go, all right, like as long as I'm knocking stuff off, like don't be hard on myself.
Yeah.
Just just tick off
yep.
anything, have it done, and it's all got to be done eventually. So I just
Right. But we'd have a big
No, that's really good
conversation,
advice.
and we'd have this long 4-hour talk, and we'd figure out what went in there, and that was the build. So like we knew where the build was supposed to be, and then
Sure.
just worked right towards that. And one time that what we planned was a year.
yeah.
That Trello card
Yeah.
lasted for a year. And
Was
we
that
Wow.
version 2?
Version 2, where we completely ripped the whole entire game apart and re-put it back together. Kind of.
Yeah.
That's so
It
scary to
was
do.
it was a shredding. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I recently did that to Retro Spaceball, and it's
yeah,
still not all the way back together
there were a
yet.
lot of bugs in that. That was a huge testing endeavor. After refactoring a bunch.
And there was a lot.
So then I
I
had a
think
Trello that was a
most
list of
times we
everything
get
in
a
the
whole.
game.
We generally we finish that list
Yeah,
and then make a feedback list,
right.
and that's all the
Yep.
bugs that are found, and then I
Figures
go
all
through that,
out. And then
and then maybe we do one more iteration and then release, maybe like depending on
yeah, it just
how
really
much is
depends on what
in.
was there. But there were times though where we were like
Justwall
had
is like
almost given
you're
up.
like a 10-hour tester, man.
Yeah. Oh,
You're like per version, you're putting in 10, 20 hours like testing.
easily.
Like I don't do that much.
I wish I had it on
You
Steam. I have 180 hours in it on Steam or something like that, but I wish it was counting the testing outside of Steam, because I probably have
Yeah.
thousands of hours in Terrene.
And you've got the
Yeah, I
list.
believe
What's
it.
that list? What's the list called? Yeah, the one
Oh, there's a whole list of everything that's in the
where you
game.
go. Yeah, where
A
you go back
regression
through it
test.
all. What's
Yeah.
a regression test?
Yeah, so like
You've
everything
got
would be
the
checked,
regression
and
list.
I'd check old save files, and I do that stuff for
That's
a
brutal.
living, right?
That
Like,
is brutal. Yeah.
Sure.
yeah, but good. You have to do it, right? Because I found a lot of stuff that was broken that we broke in that regression test. So it's like,
Oh
it
yeah,
was super neat.
that's how game development works.
That's
You fix something and it breaks something else.
Yeah, and it's not
The
a
more
slam to anybody. It's
the
just
bigger
fix
it gets, the bigger it gets. It just little things affect other things.
right. And
Yeah.
and
Try to be perfect.
we were
but
building an
it's
endless
impossible.
procedurally generated game where there's no level cap. Take that into your brain for a
Yeah.
second. Like,
In Game Maker,
it's
yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't sound like an easy task.
tough to test, right? Yeah. Sounds like you enjoy that
Yeah.
kind of task, though, beta testing and like finding things and
I
playing
love
stuff.
beta testing, but it's such a big job.
It
You
absolutely
know what I
is.
mean?
Yeah, you have to
I
really
I would
want to
much
do it.
rather just I would much rather just play someone else's game and tell them what I think about it, and then move on to the next game and tell
100%.
them what I think.
100%.
Sticking with one game and like going through each of the Trello cards and actually going through and debugging
Oh
it
my god.
is so much more work.
It's brutal. It's brutal. Well,
Mm.
and then you find something that you weren't trying to find, and you're like, "How do I do that?" And then it keeps you awake at night trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
replicate that bug or defect that
Oh
you
man.
found. Right?
Yeah.
Like, but we were great at squashing.
We've had a couple of those.
What the heck
Yeah.
are the? What's it called?
We had a couple of
Exploits.
long-term ones. Oh, you mean like a crash to desktop or exploits?
No, I was just saying, like we squashed a lot of exploits, but you're right. We had a couple long-term bugs that we had difficulties figuring out.
Took a long time to actually.
Or like engine related bugs, engine specific
There was
bugs,
some
where it's
there was an
like I'm a
update,
big Unity guy.
and that
I think
Oh yeah, yeah.
affected everything.
Game Maker updates have broken stuff a bit, but
Yeah.
a lot of the time, it's just some deep logic that I've got wrong,
Yeah.
and I've overlooked it forever, and then
We found him though and crushed him.
I honestly though,
Oh,
I
God.
think that was a lesson
It's
to
so
me.
polished.
Was every time I've blamed Game Maker, it was my fault. So
Right.
every time.
Yeah, that's funny.
It was a lesson. Yeah, Game Maker's pretty good. Like, it's pretty solid.
We pushed it to its bounds.
Quite a few times I've gone, yep, this is Game Maker. It's doing me in, but get to the
Well,
bottom
if you
of all of
ever
it.
switch to Unity, you can
Wirehead.
blame them a bit more.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Oh,
I
nice.
mean, more emails. Yeah. I would love to make a 3D
It's
game
good to hear, though.
at some point. I would love to. Before I was doing this, I was just making a bunch of prototype art because we didn't really know what game we wanted to make. So I was just doing a bunch of prototype art, and we were going through isometric stuff and 3D stuff. And
You made all that isometric.
Yeah, I really got into the low poly voxel mesh creation.
I wanted to make that an isometric engine. Like, I still want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be something we do down the way.
It's a lot of work. I don't know.
Yeah, isometric is it's like a challenge, right?
Yeah. Because
if you're not using a 3D actual 3D environment, it is. Yeah, and it's hard to make it fast. And
I think even in 3D it would be a challenge. It would be a lot easier to just have a free flowing camera that has some simple rules, but to lock everything at that angle and make it look good and orthographic and like all of that, like that's a lot.
We thought about it, though. I was really into that, and I still want to kind of get into that. I was using it to make 2D art, and taking a picture of the 3D mesh I made, but I was using it in the 2D world. Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's without the 3D, you have the calculating the occlusion is. I'm not that good at maths, so I don't know how to.
Yeah, we'd have to ask Ed for that. Do you know Ed?
For optimizing sakes as well.
I do know Ed.
You know Ed.
So you're not rendering
Ed's a good
everything.
buddy of mine, at least online.
I asked Ed to come on the podcast, but he hasn't finalized it yet.
Told me he's taking.
He said he wanted to.
Oh yeah. He's off the internet.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But Ed's awesome. Right. I've done the terrible game jams with him before. Like, he's the guy that I'll do them for. I actually have a band that I don't put my name on, and it's straight noise, garbage, insane music. And I really only make it for him, the whole band, the whole time. And he's the only.
Honestly, that sounds right up my alley.
He's the only person that I've ever told. So like, I'll release a song to Bandcamp, and then all I do is go send Ed a message. I don't post it anywhere else. It's just for Ed. I even made him a happy birthday song on there a couple times. So
that's kind of you. I definitely want to hear it though.
Do you? I'll send you a link to it. It's it starts off like
I won't share it with anyone else.
Oh, you can. It doesn't say my name on it, so they won't know. They won't know that it's me.
Oh, okay.
But he likes it. There's a couple good tracks if you're into noise, insane noise music.
Yeah, no, I've actually always been into noise.
Have you?
Ever since high school.
Yeah. Yeah, I did all kinds of things. Like, I have this one song called Deaf, where I didn't hear any of it. So I programmed the drums, I programmed all the guitars, I did all the vocals, and never heard playback the whole time. And then I mixed it without ever hearing playback and released it to the internet. And then, so the first time I heard it, it was live.
Have you listened to it? So you've listened to it?
Oh, it's out there. Yeah, it actually is.
You played it back. You played it back when you uploaded it. You never listened to it.
Strangely good. Like, it strangely worked. It's all garbage music. It's all just insane stuff, right, going on. But it actually works. Yeah, it's quite interesting. So I like a lot of experimental stuff, right? Like.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's just interesting.
Most of the bands that I've been in were experimental.
Is it? Yeah, we used to do jams. We had a band called Food Web, and it was a couple older dudes that were burnout hippies, and we'd get all these people together. Right? We'd have like 3 guitarists, 2 bassists, a drummer, a piano player, and then like a Congo percussionist and some singers, and one guy would like paint. It was this big ordeal. We show up, we never rehearsed.
Yeah.
We just would show up and we would just make up the entire night of music. And he'd be drawing.
Improv.
Total improv. And he would record it all and give us CDs. He'd burn CDs with the art on it. This dude. And you listen
sounds
back,
cool.
and what's weird about it is at the moment it feels like this is pure garbage what we're making. But when you listen back to it, it actually is music. Like so I don't know, it's just interesting. It's like subconsciously created, right? Quite.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your noise stuff.
Oh yeah,
sure.
I'll send that over to you, man, for sure. It's funny, and a lot of guest appearances on there. My son has done some things, and
oh yeah,
I had this dude that I worked with out of Toronto. He built a program that he could write code to make drums play, and he sent me just all this crazy random jazz drums samples, and they were like 20 minutes long, and they were just like ever changing. And so I just over time would like take chunks of those and use them in songs, right? Like
sure.
but yeah, it's just like piecing everything together. I always wanted to make a game that was like really brutal and very bloody and lots of shooting that just was like pure noise going on, right? Like just a psychotic game. But alas, no one
That
wants
might raise some eyebrows.
One day. There's nothing stopping you.
Until I make Fluffy Hot Dog Co. That's our next jam. I won't explain that here though. Peter will come get me. Yeah.
So, Justwall, you mentioned that you work in tech.
Yeah.
Wirehead, are you also in tech?
Yeah, I'm one of my fix computers on I'm a remote support help desk.
Okay, like
guy.
a help desk. Yeah, I did a help desk job before.
But I'm a bit like I travel a bit as well. Like I do a lot from my desk and remote, but we have a bunch of offices, so I travel around and fix shit. And
yeah,
mostly I'm just a help desk.
There were things that I actually really enjoyed about doing the help desk.
Yeah,
you get to actually help people.
Yeah,
I was
good,
at a
like
credit card though, so it wasn't all that much fun.
You were doing it for credit cards?
Was that internal
world
support?
Yeah, no, it was.
Yep.
So I was working for this company called Thesis, which is a processor.
I know Thesis. Yeah,
you know Thesis.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was at the Thesis help desk. So
yeah, checking statements.
Yeah,
making sure those TIDs are enabled.
Yeah, we had I was doing help desk for Ingenico and Verifone terminals.
Yep.
So that was the easy part of the job, but then they're like, "Oh, you're really good at this. Why don't you join the chargebacks team?" And I was like, "Chargebacks? What's that?" Like, I don't know, but you're part of the team now.
Then you get yelled at all
Start
day.
answering those calls. Yes.
Oh,
where the hell is my money?
Yeah, they took your money, and oh my gosh,
that's what those calls are.
That's brutal.
I was like, you know what? If you're not gonna switch me, I'm gonna leave because I don't want to do this department anymore. They're like, we can't take you out of the department. I was like, well, I'm leaving. See you later.
Well, yeah, it's not too bad. The QA is pretty cool. Like,
was it hold the yellow key to make paper come
buttons?
out? Right?
Yeah, hold yellow.
Certain buttons to factory reset. Or
yep, there's factory reset stuff.
Which one was you hold down two buttons? I think it's the red and the green for 2 seconds, and it turns it off and on, like does a power cycle, right?
That's the old ones. Now they got it on yellow and pound. Does the reboot.
Yellow and pound. Okay.
Yeah, and if
honestly, I can't really remember.
With everybody.
Yellow. No, all you have to do is if you go to an Ingenico device, all you have to do is hit 2634, and it'll say press the F key. And if you press the F key, because there's a key that just says F, it'll bring you into this menu, and like I guarantee no one at that store would know what the fuck to do. They'd just be lost.
The function key, yeah.
Especially if you went in a couple.
Yeah, I know. And then they call you, and they're like, "Why is it doing this?" And you're like, "Could you try holding these buttons?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hold these two buttons down. Okay, when it comes on, let me know if it's right. That's your job. That's a support person. Yeah.
And then they'd be like, "Well, why did that happen?" And they'd be like, "Well, Did the power go out?
Did someone press 2634 followed by the F key? They must have, because that's where you're at.
The F key?
Yeah.
The F like Frank.
Yeah. I'll show you an F key, right? Yeah. Yeah, stuff's
Yeah.
interesting though, but game development really helped me at work. Like learning
I
Game
believe it.
Maker and understanding like how code works and stuff. Like I moved from a support role up to I'm not a developer or anything because I don't have any schooling, but I definitely can read what's going on and see what's happening, and that is all thanks to learning Earl Grey, right? Making Earl Grey. I learned so much. I remember there was this point at 4 months because I'd never coded in my life. I didn't believe I could do it, and I was 30 something. So when I was starting, so I was already old, right? I was too old to learn, and I remember 4 months in, there was like this moment where it literally clicked, and I was like, I understand this, right? Like, oh, I see. If
Yeah.
I just go over here and I make this variable count down, and then I set it to restart after it hits 0 back up to what I wanted, I got this loop, and I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it.
Yep.
And
I remember that feeling.
yeah, you start learning the logic of it, and that logic can be used anywhere in any code. Like the code will be different,
Absolutely.
but
The syntax.
yeah, all that stuff. Like you got to learn very different pieces of it. It's another language, right? But the way it's used is the same. So when I'm like telling people, "Hey, I want you to build a website that does this," it's the same thing as me understanding how I want you to build a game that does that, right? It's
Sure.
so
It's user experience.
yeah, absolutely. And so I can sit down with a developer and talk to them about their life, similar to here, and they're just doing web code, and you get to hear the stories of them working in Cold Fusion and and coming through and getting into like Java and JSON then, and moving into the HTML, and then what was there, an HTML3 or I don't remember. There's some weird stuff, and then everyone started using Microsoft, right, and then got into the .NET frameworks, and so there's like this whole other world of industry development that's out there that honestly, I'm not trying to steer people away from game development. Please keep making games. But if you're really looking to make money being a developer, doing things that are not games will make you lots of money.
Yeah.
It really will.
Like accounting.
Yeah.
That's right.
It sucks, but it can fund your
Using
game.
your programming skills to
Yeah, both me and Wirehead work full time. We have full time lives. We do all our stuff. So when it comes up and it's like, oh, we need $100 for a Steam page, ain't no thing. Like you just put the $100 on.
Yeah.
And
It's important.
yeah, because there's a cost to
It's
making
I don't
easy
know
to
how
overlook.
I don't know how you would survive without other work, but
Yeah.
I know people do it.
Who's the guy
And
that?
the biggest thing is that you get to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
There's not this like crazy
pressure,
weight on your shoulder.
We
Like
don't
Dread.
you don't have
have
like like you gotta put a mortgage on your house because you gotta sell this game, and you hope you sell the game.
yeah, and there's no boss breathing down your neck worrying about money.
Yeah, that's big
Well, I
too.
follow this guy. I'm gonna butcher his name, but it looks like it's Artur Smiarowski, and he
Oh,
made
you mean you can't pronounce it?
Solash and Solash 2.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and he just does it like he's quit, and then he goes full time, and that game is actually really good and really cool. Like I enjoyed my
I
time.
haven't played
amazing.
his games, but I've been seeing his posts on Twitter, and I've been
Yeah.
kind of following him from the sidelines
Yeah,
for a while now, and just like keeping up on his stuff, and he's doing pretty well
it's
for being a
massive.
solo
That
dev.
game is
Yeah,
massive. Yeah, it's like it reminds me a little bit of like the Terrene world where you have this big overmap that's these squares, and then each one of those squares is like this whole little um, area you can explore on foot, right? So you kind of bounce
yeah,
around.
a very procedural
Yeah,
game.
and then like you can like choose when you're creating a level like how much time has passed. So if you have more time passed before you start, more roads are made and more cities are built, right? But if you choose less time, it's more rural because like times haven't updated. So it's like things are happening when you're making the game. It has like this procedural like aging to it. I don't know, fucking
Yeah,
interesting.
it's awesome.
Yeah, but a lot of fun.
It's like Dwarf Fortress.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's less
and
complex.
Some other
though.
games, I think. It looks less complex. Yeah, it looks good.
You're not
I
commanding
should play it.
people around. You're controlling with Wasad.
Okay.
Yeah, because like Dwarf Fortress, you're just
Dwarf Fortress
controlling everything.
Yeah,
It's like Odd.
I got it, and it
RimWorld.
wrecked me in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, I do
Dwarf
like
Fortress.
RimWorld though for that kind of stuff. That's a really good
It's
one.
great game. Yeah.
And there was another one that I was playing recently that now I just
I don't know. You're always talking about Necessity.
I love Nikesi. Yeah, that game is epic to me.
I didn't get far into that one, but I do have a copy of it.
Do you? Yeah, I got into that one like too much, I think. Wait, how long did I play it?
You know the Electric Mindset?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, me and Mike, we go way back.
Yeah, Michael's like, you got to play this game, and I play it, and I'm like, okay, are we gonna play together? And we just never played it together.
Oh yeah. Mike's the best. You bring him up.
I've been friends with him for a while now.
He helped us with Terrene and Evidence of Life all the way through the whole building of it.
Yep.
I've heard him gush about the game so many times on his stream.
Yeah.
Man,
that's why I brought him up. Is because I know that
heaps of feedback from watching him play, like heaps of little things that were annoying him and stuff because he played so much.
Like that his face is in the game, right?
Stuff that I fixed. And
I didn't know that.
He's in the game. Yeah.
So you can get a mission
and
that says hunt a strange creature or something like that. and then when the swarms come out, there's this like weird leg thing that has a head on it, and it's his head. And then the noises it's making is I stole it from his stream and put backwards talking. So it's like this weird but it's him talking, right? So yeah, he's hidden.
That's great. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for that.
Sure.
Is there a special way to unlock that?
You just get the mission. Yeah,
so if you check the missions off the robot in the orbiter.
I got you.
Yeah.
And if he has
I'm gonna keep an eye out for that.
Hunt like super alien or hunt
strange alien, I think, or
strange alien.
I can't remember. Yeah, so we're so bad we don't even know.
No, it's okay. I'm actually planning on having Michael on the show.
Are you?
Even though he's not a dev specifically, he's so close to a QA. Like he's like the only non-professional QA that is professional that I know.
1,000%
like
agree. Yeah.
He's more professional than actual professional QAs sometimes.
Yeah, he wrote us up a 2-page thing when we released.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
When we released to Steam for Terrene. But see, he was helping us with Evidence of Life.
Yep.
Way back in the day.
He's the only person I know that finished Death Rings of Jupiter, like my game.
He did.
He did it on stream. Like when I first met him, he said he would stream it.
Right.
And I watched the stream, and he finished it. He just like kept going. He's like, he was only going to play for an hour, and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to play it through. And
yeah, dude.
Yeah, he beat it.
We were talking about Mike, we're talking about Ed.
Oh yeah,
it's about Mike.
Ed helped in Terrene. Didn't he help create the mining beam effect?
Oh really?
He helped me with the maths. Yeah, he did. I hit him up. Yeah. Yep.
Because
it's basically a sine. It's a sine wave.
Wave, yeah.
It's a sine wave, and I'm not really good at that stuff.
Like his
and he gave me enough help that I could do that myself.
Yeah.
I still don't understand what it's actually doing, but I got it to work. He's helped me a few times with maths, actually.
But
he's really good.
There were a lot of times, though, that we would be like...
He says stuff to me about programming, and I don't understand what he's saying. He does that a lot.
Right.
He's like next level. That's what I call him.
Oh, yeah. No, he's a really smart guy. He's pretty young, too, compared to the lot of us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
man.
He's in his 20s still, but... Yeah, and I helped him with,
Other Minds?
Other Minds. I did.
Probably did a lot of testing for him. Yeah, I played
You
the
played
Other
that quite a
Minds as
bit.
well.
Yeah, I did 3 or 4 songs on it too.
Oh,
I
really?
have music in
Did
that
you really?
game. Yeah.
Didn't even know.
Yep. Yeah, he had.
I definitely played Other
I
Minds.
played most of it, I think.
I was terrible at it though. I was very, very bad at that game.
I suck at platformers in general. Like,
That's my problem too. I told him, I was like, I'll definitely play it and give you feedback, but I gotta let you know that I kind of suck at these games.
yeah, I'm really bad at it. Like, but I did play test it quite a bit. I got through a couple bosses and stuff and gave him some feedback, and then he was like, "You want to make music?" I'm like, "Yeah, shit, yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, honestly, I was a little disappointed to see that it didn't get as much of a reception as one would hope. And
Yeah.
then it almost seemed like
Actually,
it kind of turned him away from making games like that.
Yeah.
Almost.
it's actually quite an original and clever platform game.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of platform games, and his is definitely quite unique.
Well, it's just so
And
different.
the
it's
amount of heart
good.
that he
It's
put
actually
into it.
Yeah,
quite good to play, and there's a lot of heart
lot
and
of
a lot of sort of
content.
hidden stuff, and
Yeah, so many
all this-
levels and stuff. Like I think I only made it through like not even a tenth of the game,
Yeah, there's a ton.
and I was playing it for like an hour.
Yeah, I was really proud
It's
of him,
pretty-
man. It
is really hard
a
when
tough
you
world out
put
here.
heaps of work into something and no one really cares. It's
right.
tough, man.
Well, we just learned that it's like we
That's
care.
not to worry about it though. You
We
should
care
enjoy
about it.
Yeah, love making games. Pretty fun.
And we joke,
Yeah.
we're like, oh, we'd need players, but there's players, right? Somebody on Steam had 300 some hours in Terrene. I mean, that's by itself just.
Terene's, it has had a lot of players and
Yeah.
random fans.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
There was people in the Discord that joined because they're fans of the game.
Yeah, gave
Got
us
heaps of people,
feedback,
but it's
and,
something good.
Yeah, it felt right. Like there was a point where we weren't going to make it anymore, or we were just going to do something else. And it was the players that kept bringing us back to it, because we'd go 2-3 months and just chill and not make games, and then someone would come in and be like, "Hey, I'm playing this," or we'd find some video on YouTube of someone playing it that we don't even know, and we'd see them playing it.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, "Oh, someone's playing our game. We got to make more of it," right? Like.
Yeah.
It's really.
I asked that question
definitely.
earlier about what everyone's favorite part of making games is, and I didn't answer, but for me, it's the players for sure. Getting that feedback, even if it's negative feedback, like I love it when people play my game. It's like it feels like the purpose is being met. You know what I mean?
Right. All the hours that you put into it were for something, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah, because it's lots of hours, right?
Mhm.
I'm trying to see. I got what was it? Ace Bright from Wirehead had an extra copy, and then that's when we started making Terrene, and I have 1,400 hours in it now.
Oh, an Ace Bright, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like.
No, I wish I would have got mine through Steam to count the hours. I got mine through Humble.
Right. Is that the program you use as well?
Ace Bright, yeah, no, I love Ace
so
Bright.
good. Yeah, it's like the one,
Yeah.
I
use it for so much.
Do you? Yeah.
The amount of assets that you made in Terrene it's actually pretty absurd.
Oh, it's insane. I'd sit down and do like 500 plants.
Music, sound effects, all the art, and like there's just so much art. Like,
yeah, didn't I make like,
you wouldn't think it, but there's just so many little pieces and little things, and
the little guns? I remember I made like,
there's all those guns. Yeah,
I remember I made
the guns are insane. There's 1,000
guns or 1,000 guns or something like that.
I think it's the Sprat has 1,000 frames. Like, you drew them individually.
Right, because it's got procedural weapons
like a
that
pure,
you can get, and
like a pure maniac. Yeah, you just drew them all.
I did.
Hell.
I did. I went absolutely crazy, and
Probably could have generated them or something, but no, you just threw them and they look great. Like, they're so good.
Yeah,
I really love some of those guns. They just look sick.
Yeah, I love when you get the weird bullets, and there's just a lot of things in that game that I just love. Like, we just kept adding cool stuff.
Bullets,
the dog that follows you around and helps you fight, like AI doggy.
I love the dog.
Yeah,
the dog is such a nice touch.
It helps so much, and then that dog becomes the second player if you plug a controller.
Do you give him a gun? Did you work that out, Rick? You can put a
Oh
gun
yeah,
in.
yeah. I
Yeah,
fully upgraded my pup. I don't have anyone to play with,
but I mean,
but
you can put the procedural guns into his inventory.
Yeah, now you
Have you
can
done
like,
that?
I'm not sure
And
if
he'll
I've done that.
yeah,
and he'll use those. Yeah, if there's a gun you like, but you don't want to use it, you can just chuck it in. It will use your ammo, but yeah,
I'll
he
have to
can
do
use
that.
the procedural guns, and you can put grenades or dynamite or any secondary weapon in his secondary slot.
Oh wow,
And he'll use them as well, which is pretty funny.
yeah, you can like give them sticky
that's
mines.
pretty cool.
You can give them all
I
kinds of
don't
stuff.
use him actually, to be honest. I get he's just too OP. Like I don't often use
Oh,
him.
Yeah, I
I
leave them
like
at
to
home
fight the
sometimes.
I like to fight the fight. Yeah, I leave him at home. I get
no,
annoyed
I
when
use
he's
them to kill the
killing
slugs.
everything.
The most
Oh yeah,
like I think.
the little mites. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the
good mite.
mites.
Yeah,
I think one of the most enjoyable moments of my life in game development was that, we put that couch co-op in, and I'd sit here and play it with my daughter, and she loved it because she could be the dog and shoot all the guns and have infinite ammo, right?
Yeah,
That moment there is just like I'll go, and I played
she
multiple
did that a lot.
hours.
I remember.
Yeah, she helped
Yeah,
me test all the
she loved that. I
multiplayer.
remember that.
We found bugs, and she gave ideas, and then we implemented
Yeah,
those ideas like hats, and that we kind of
that's so
wanted
cool.
hats, and then she drew some of the hats. I let her draw some of the hats.
That's
So I
nice.
try to bring my children into it so that they can see um what it was. Like my son, he was the final boss alien at the end of Evidence of Life. It was his voice that
Oh
was
yeah,
the alien. Yeah, he do some
that's great.
voiceover for me. And but yeah, playing a game with your own kid that you made and watching them enjoy it and have fun is, I mean, that's it. I could retire.
Yeah, it sounds truly
Yeah.
magical. Like I totally, when I was a kid, I wished that my dad was a game developer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even as an adult, I wish I had that growing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
that'd be
luckily,
pretty cool.
I did have a dad who was into tech, and he always brought computers home, just like Wirehead here. So we always
Yeah,
had some type of computer around, and I think it's really important that a lot of people don't like their kids having tablets and this and that, but like I'm telling you, in like 10, 15 years, people are just gonna be working on tablets and cell phones.
Yep.
That's all that they're gonna be. That's gonna
That's
be
what
the
I
job.
try telling my mom. I got a brother who has like 4 kids,
Yeah.
and that screen time is like a issue for them because they're
Right.
still pretty young. And it's like you gotta understand that the kid's obsessed with Minecraft. It's like, well, that's okay because everyone in his generation is, and they're probably going to end up, making something either in Minecraft that makes them revenue or make something similar to Minecraft that makes them revenue. They might find a job this way is
Well,
basically
they're
mm,
they're
yeah,
all a meter. Each one of those blocks is a meter in theory, right? So like it's actually like building a four block by 4 block wall is like teaching you how to build things. It really is
sure.
like measurements and how do you get a perfect square? Every kid's done that now. They've learned how to do that in Minecraft because they're like, oh, it doesn't look perfect, so they move out one block, and now it's a perfect square, right?
That's a good
Or
point.
maybe they go diagonal across it, right? And go, okay, now this is where the end would be. This is the perfect square, right? You can learn things from like geometry
mm.
from Minecraft for sure.
It's got an amazing
Yeah,
like background of modding as well, which
Oh
is
yeah,
it does.
I think a lot of kids probably went from that into programming for sure, like learning how to mod
Oh
that,
yeah.
yeah,
and then learning some Java and
Even on the most basic level, like it's the same thing as when we were young
yeah.
and we played
yeah,
games and we developed the passion and even some of the skill set
Hmm.
to go on and actually start developing them. Because I mean, I remember I was the type of player who would look for colliders that were missing or janky or
Right.
basically find bugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the fun for me, was to find bugs, find exploits. Some of my most favorite games were because of the exploits, because of the bugs, because
Right.
of feeling like I was the only person who knew about this little secret because this was before the internet really,
Right.
Like
Right.
yeah,
and that's what kept me going, I wanted to make a game, and I was too young to even know how to do that, and eventually I went to college because they said, well, do you want to make games? You got to go to college. This is the only degree that's somewhat similar that I could find,
Right.
you know?
Well, and that's the thing is
But
it
yeah.
leads you to that, right? Like I feel like everything that I
Mhm.
did in my life where it came to music or learning how to do something artistic or figuring out computers or whatever it was, like all those things led to me being able to actually make a game. And like it all just kind of
Yeah.
Right,
leads there.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think
For
I
me too.
it won't ever disappear.
I got into yeah, I got into like editing a lot
Mm.
when I was a teenager, like making Doom levels
Oh,
and
yeah,
Quake
me too,
levels
man.
and
Okay, yeah.
all that sort of stuff. Like
Absolutely.
any game that had editors in there, I was just all about it. There
Right.
was a game
Yep.
called I can't remember now. I think it was called Paladin 2. It was pretty like it's pretty obscure on the Amiga, but it had you could make a whole like RPG adventure.
Oh wow.
You know, like set up the little each map and have some characters in there and fights
Wow,
and
yeah, on
stuff.
the
And
Amiga,
yeah,
that sounds
it was called
intense.
Paladin 2. It was really good. I used to love that. And
I've
but
heard of
yeah,
it before, but yeah.
making Doom levels was that was a lot of fun. I loaded the Doom editor up like a modern one, and I don't understand it actually. I
I was
don't.
playing around with it
It's
recently
like
too,
pretty
actually.
complex. It's like weird. Yeah, I'm like, how did I even work this out when I was a teenager? Like, I thought it'd be easier, a bit easier now. Like, I know it's all line defs, right? It's all you have the top,
Yeah.
middle, and bottom textures for each line and whether they're passable. But gee, that's hard
Sectors.
to. Yeah, that's right. In sectors. That's right. Yeah, I did that and like Duke Nukem as well. I got into the editor for
Love
Yep.
that.
that game. I played that a
I was the
lot.
That
same
was
way,
pretty.
man.
That was pretty fun. And you could do like floors above floors with all these weird tricks in that one.
Yep, you could scale the sprites,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
make them
really?
real big or real small. Yeah, in the build engine.
Oh, of course you could, yeah. Like the shrink gun is actually just a scaling thing in the
Yep.
engine. For real. I don't
No,
remember
I
that,
had a
but I'm
lot of
sure it's
fun
a
with
thing.
Duke Nukem
That was a great
and
game.
Doom.
And Doom, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever make Quake maps?
I never
That
got
was
into
like
making Quake
That was
maps.
my
My
buddy.
that
computer
was
was my
yeah,
computer was just a little bit too crappy for that.
I had a pretty low frame rate on that. It's just 3D modeling really and a lot of subtraction.
I
Making
actually
a
didn't get
cube
into
and
3D
then
modeling until like 2007,
Hmm.
believe it or not.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
What
that's
did you
funny.
I
use in
didn't have a
college? What did you use in
3ds Max.
college? Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it was,
I did a bit of that in that digital art course. It was 3ds Max. We had
yeah,
to
it's a
make
good
like an
program. It's just
animation.
way too
Yeah,
expensive.
it was
Like
good. It
Blender
was
is
all
so much better.
key
Is it?
keyframes and stuff. And
I
I love
struggle with
Blender, mostly
Blender.
because it's free.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
struggled learning it, but once I like got over that initial hump, like I love it. The keyboard shortcuts are so much faster. Like it
right.
seems like things aren't in the right place, but I think
Yeah,
they just weren't in the right place on 3ds Max. I think they're in the right place on Blender now. I don't know.
yeah,
I've
right.
crossed over, I guess.
Man, it looks good. Everyone uses it.
Yeah. I mean,
I find.
I messed around with it for a while, and I get into it once in a while and kind of play with it. But yeah, I struggle learning the short keys on that for sure. I need like a cheat sheet sitting next to me for a while, like written out, so I can go. I know R is rotate, but the hell's S again? Like, I get so confused.
Yeah,
So
man.
I
The
had the
learning stuff's.
interesting experience of learning Blender and Unreal 4 while getting paid.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
that is cool.
Yeah, so it helped me
For
to learn.
Screamies? Is this for Screamies?
No, this was for a previous client. This was back
Oh
in
yeah.
2018 or 2019.
Hmm.
Oh nice.
Yeah, it's Cyber Fox Studios was the studio.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
actually, this guy I knew in person from Phoenix, he was looking for help building his resume. Essentially,
Hmm.
he wanted to apply for jobs for Unreal Engine and didn't know how to do any 3D modeling. So he's like, "Hey, you're a 3D modeler. Well, I'll contract you to do some work, and we'll build something in Unreal." I'm like, "All right, but."
Wow.
I don't
Right.
have a license for 3ds Max, and that's the only software that I knew at the time. and I don't know Unreal. He's like, well, do you want to learn stuff? I was like, sure.
Right? Yeah, why not?
Awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't like charge him while I was like watching tutorials and stuff like that, but it gave me the incentive to be like, okay, now I need to learn
Now I
this
gotta learn it.
software because I'm getting
Yeah.
paid. Yep.
Yeah, and I worked in Unreal for a while. I liked that engine. It was 3 though. It was before 4. I don't think I've ever
Oh,
stepped in
okay. Yeah.
4. And now they're up to what? 5?
Yeah. Now they're on
On
5.
5. And
I remember trying 3, but I couldn't figure it
it was
out.
before it was called it was like Kismet or something like that. Before it was like Blueprints or whatever they're called now. It was
Oh,
like
I didn't even know they had that. I
Kismet,
thought it was all
I think it was called.
C++.
It was
That's
C++,
interesting.
but yeah, then they had this other thing. But it was basically the same thing. You connected these deals and connected nodes,
Node
and
based.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They just upgraded it and called it. Is it Blueprints? I feel like it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what they call it now.
yeah. So it was
Some
cool
people
though.
swear by it.
Yeah,
I honestly, I would probably want to just learn to code in C++, but
right,
then again, I spend a lot of time in C sharp, so
right. Yeah. What engine are you using? I forget. You said you were using Unreal,
mostly Unity.
Unity. That
It's
was it.
Unity, right?
No,
Yeah,
mostly I use Unity.
that was it. Yeah.
I've done some modding in Unreal, and
What's
I've
is retro?
Retro Spaceball is Unity.
I know, but is it like 2D section of Unity, or is it 3D and you're using like sprites or something, or like how does that work?
So with Unity, it's actually all 3D,
Mhm.
but there is like a way that you can like lock out the 3D
Right.
stuff. But it's essentially the
Right.
same thing as like let's say you've got a rigid body and you've got a rigid body 2D. Well, a rigid body 2D is basically just a rigid body that doesn't have or that has
It's missing a
constraints,
depth
right?
constraint or something.
It's essentially that's what it is, but in Unity it requires different code when you're using a different module. So there are some differences, like if you're trying to do math functions and stuff with the different colliders and stuff like that. A circle collider versus a sphere collider, they're similar, but they're not the
Yeah.
same,
Yep.
right?
You wouldn't
Right.
have a sphere.
Interesting.
You need a sphere collider, obviously, for
Well,
flat
so what I
objects.
did was I started because when I early started, what I did was I was learning what is it called? XNA, right? So
Right.
I
Okay.
was
Yeah.
that's where I got my footing in C sharp, right? And then I was like, well, this is impossible. It took me a week to code a camera. Like I'm not getting anywhere, except for like the tutorials, like a Asteroids 3D tutorial and like just like really, not even really games, just tutorials, right? And then I went from that to Game Maker, and I was like, oh, I'm getting a little bit farther. And then I was like, and then someone showed me Unity, and I was like, wait a second, I just made something that was playable in one day. I think I found the engine for me. You know what
Right.
I mean? And so that's when I started with Unity. First of all, the 2D stuff wasn't there.
Right.
So
Right.
whenever
That's about when I was started with it.
yeah, whenever you made stuff in Unity back in the day, you had to do all the constraints yourself. So that's what I did. I was, went down that road, and then the 2D stuff came out like around the same year that I started Retro Spaceball, and I've been super slow to pick up any of the updates for the engine
Yeah. Okay.
because I just get so
Right.
set in my ways.
So you're using the
But then
2D. You're using
eventually,
the
Yeah. That
2D
changes so much.
ones for it.
so now I'm using 2D, but when I started it, I was using the 3D
Right.
stuff with my own
Okay.
constraints.
Yep.
But so what happened was, uh, the physics were janky as hell because I didn't know what I was doing. So when I realized that I needed to actually fix the physics for people to like the game more, it was actually Michael Electric who told me uh, like, hey man, the physics are too jank. Like, and I was like, okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
Coming from you,
Yeah.
I
He's like that's.
understand.
He'll come straight up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's awesome for that. And I
That's
think
the
he
best.
feels
That's
a
the best
little bit
feedback you can
bad
get.
because it's taken so long for me to update the physics, but it feels so much better
Right.
with the physics being updated.
Right. Right. It's honest feedback, right? You gotta, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's feedback's so
Oh
important, right?
gosh.
Like
It is the game.
making.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Without the feedback, there's no game.
So the
that's like making something in the
new
dark.
physics are in the one that can be downloaded now, or is that something you're currently working on?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the versus mode still uses the old physics, and some of there's bonus levels that I'm actually gonna cut that still use the old physics,
Cool.
but all the
Right.
levels that are in there now use the new physics, and I
Nice.
did switch over from 3D to 2D at that point because all the pieces were in place and I understood how to do it better, and I had learned a
It's time to do it.
lot.
So you're going through a refactoring. Yeah, for
The
sure.
entire project. Yeah, it was pretty rough,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it after about 6 months, it started to feel like the game again.
But at the end of it, it's so like rewarding to know that you like were like, it would be better if I did this,
Mhm.
and then I know it's a tough road, a tough path, but I did it and it was worth it.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
so weird because I
And
remember the exact point where I was like, "Okay, I can either keep trying to do something that I want to do and not figure it out, and maybe figure it out, or I can do something that I know will work, but it will be janky." And I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna do it because I know that it'll work, and if it's janky, then so sue me." And for like 3
right,
years, that's the way the game was.
right.
People were like
And then you put it together and
yeah, the ball's going through the wall, the player's getting stuck in the wall. I'm like half of the feedback I'm
right.
getting is like, "Hey, your physics suck." Like after a while I had to break down and actually address that.
Like I have to do it.
Yeah, it's a pinball
Yeah, and that was
game,
how
you
we
know.
were like. We didn't want to do key bindings,
Yeah, I'm still
but
on
so
that
many
too.
people were asking for
Oh
key
man, yeah.
bindings, and it's like, and then we did key bindings, and it was like, yeah, and then people were like, it needs a map. They're like, okay, and so Wirehead made a map, and it was cool, and it had like markers on it and stuff, and people were like,
The map's not.
it doesn't zoom. Like you can't add a marker to it. And
Yes.
we're like, so then we're like, then he did that, and it's like now the map is tight. You put like custom markers on it, and you can get around, and it like changed the gameplay for me, right?
Sure.
So something that we were like initially telling people, no, we'll never do
I
that.
actually, I didn't think I could
Came
do it
to
at
fruition,
the
and it was
time. I
awesome.
thought because of the way the levels,
Mm-hmm.
the save files structured and all that stuff, I'm like, I don't think I can do it. But couple of years later, I nutted it out,
You just
and
yeah.
I can
But
do
then
it.
there was crafting we put in there, the full inventory system.
Yeah.
Because before there was no like
Yep.
inventory that you opened up, and now you can like grab and drop block squares, Minecrafty type stuff. Because before it was just listed on the bottom right in
I
the
was
just
far
the
too
HUD
afraid of that
what you were
before when I
collecting.
started coding all that.
Right, and then he implemented it on the controller. So like moving that around and making it flip sides. Right, if you go off the right side, it goes back to the left.
I think the
Yeah.
hard
And
stuff with that I
all
find
that
is
stuff.
confusing. It's just the stacks and the like splitting stacks and having the stack limits and all that stuff, and what
Yeah.
happens when it goes over. Does it make a new
I wouldn't
object?
know.
And like all that kind of, and the sorting and all that is like the logic behind it was very. I found it pretty difficult, but yep, I got there. Inventory
There's no way I
systems
could
are
figure
a
that stuff
pain.
out.
Yeah, they're
I'm
pretty
so bad.
painful.
Yeah, it sounds
But
intimidating.
the new one
It
in
is,
Hunter's
yeah.
Path is actually just way simpler, but it just works heaps better. So got to
Right.
you
Well, you've
gotta
had time to think
you gotta
about it.
smash through some shitty ways of doing things before you see the easy
So true.
way from experience.
But yeah, I do
I,
recommend
I
like
do
building a game
recommend
for a while.
not
It's a
doing
lot of
fucking
fun.
inventories and mappable keys and stuff. Are you gonna you should put an inventory in baseball. Have you got mappable keys in there? Is that something that's easy to do in Unity, or it's not easy in
It's
GameMaker?
never
It's pretty rough.
easy, but so and no, to answer your question, no, I don't have that in yet. So Unity updated their input system while I've been making this game,
Mm,
so I'm yet to implement that. Luckily, you can use both systems, but the newer system makes it better for key
okay.
binding. Uh, but it's more complex, so it's a little bit harder to learn. But I'm picking it up slowly, and I do want to implement it, hopefully before the demo, but definitely before full release.
Nice. Yeah, Game Maker, it's like it's pretty much
Yeah.
entirely manual to do it. Like it's
Strings and
a
stuff
lot
like
of
that.
strings
Then
and a lot of like
Mhm.
yeah, you have a massive list of strings for the keys, and then you got to poll and wait, see what comes in, and check it against them, and it's sort of like logically,
yeah,
it's sort of not too hard to work out in your head, but like when you got to add the like you have the delays and stuff, like
yeah.
you're waiting for a key input, programming all
Not
the
to mention
delays,
making the UI look good.
and then you have the UI
That's
looking good, and
yeah.
there's heaps of manual. Uh, like I don't.
You get all the logic work out and the UI design, and still things will break.
Oh man,
You
yeah,
know?
and there's a lot of
Oh man.
because we shoehorned it later. Yeah, there's a lot of what's the word? You know, when you have a outlying condition um, like a case
Edge
edge
case.
case. Yeah,
Mm.
5 million edge cases in that with the mix of like
Yeah.
like there's the inventory controls are separate to the chip controls, and they're separate to the player controls, and
Right. What happens if you
if
play with the mouse during this UI and have the controller out and then hit the keyboard? You know?
yeah, and if you're hitting
Right. And we have a lot of
different states.
states, right, where you're like getting in a ship, or you're like on the
It's
ground,
got
or
sections like in it,
yeah.
that stuff like where you like, so the exit menu button is doing a different function for the player. So once you exit, it goes over to the player controls, and then it thinks you're pressing the button. Do you remember you would like exit your inventory and it would teleport you straight into the ship if you were standing right near the ship? And
Yeah.
they're in different
Yeah, because
sets
it
of
was like
controls. So like
doing both
you
that.
have to communicate somewhere between there to say block this control when I'm moving from the inventory of the player.
Yeah.
And oh man, there's like it was weeks
Never
of
ended.
conquering edge cases basically.
Well, then we have to plug in
Besides
every
that, and then
controller
there's all
type
the
that I could
controller
find,
types,
Oh,
and
yeah. That's
yeah.
rough.
man,
And then make sure that they all can be mapped, and make sure that the Switch one goes in
it's
there because
backwards.
it's
Yeah,
freaking
fuck's sake.
backwards.
Oh, yeah, I don't even deal with the Switch controller.
Yeah, Steam does it
Right.
for
Yeah.
you, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Right.
you can at
You
least
can switch
configure
it
it.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you guys that
Yeah.
the amount of diligence that you've put into this project it really pays off, because the polish is through the roof. You know,
that's
Oh yeah.
there's no bugs. Well, other than the bugs that you shoot, there's no
I'm
bugs in the game.
really
You know, and maybe
Right.
there is, but I haven't seen any in the hours that I've played. I haven't
that's
seen any
yeah.
bugs.
Thanks, man. Something we're really proud of is yeah. It's just putting in that
I mean,
QA.
you play No Man's Sky
Think
for
of it.
10 minutes and you find
Yeah,
bugs.
it's
You
putting
know,
that QA
Oh yeah.
list together, like where we just add every bug we find, and then I just plow through them top to bottom, make sure they're all cleared, and then do it again. And yeah, it's the way, man. Comes up
Yeah.
real good.
Yeah, we
Comes
got
up
our
real good.
QA down.
And any crash to
It does.
desktop, I'm just so
Well, I
like
thank you for that. That's
so offended by crash to desktop that it must be fixed.
they all
I
they
hate
all
that.
go they all go
I've
gotta
seen
go
a
away.
bunch
And we test negative
bunch of
stuff,
streams
right?
when we're watching it and it crashes to desktop, and I'm just like, no, I can't. I cannot live with that.
oh
No.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
worst
It's
feeling.
embarrassing. Yeah,
When it
it
crashes
is.
during a stream. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, I've been there. It happens to the best
Oops.
yeah.
of us.
No, I can't stand it. But
Missed
it's
that
good. I
one.
mean, people found crashes that we never did.
Well, to me it's like, I don't want to say it's the best thing I'll ever make, but it's the best game I have
Yeah,
definitely
no,
ever
easy
made.
for
Cool.
me.
For
Easy.
sure. Like, yeah, like the amount of time and thought and features, and like then just being able to sit down and play it and go, this is actually good. I like this. The biggest problem that I find in it is that people see the art style and
Yeah,
walk away from it,
we
Mm.
and they don't try it. They don't realize that
there's
it's like a big real game with systems and features and stuff, right? Like for the price. It's like $10, and there's a lot to it.
Oh yeah,
It's endless.
There's
that kind of surprises me because the art is
it
good.
is good.
You
There's
know,
feedback in the
Right.
refunds in Steam. Some people say just don't like the pixel art, just hate it and stuff.
Yeah. There was one streamer that was playing it. We'd watch it, and now it hurts my soul to watch it. But I watched it again. He just hates it so much, and it's just saying like, "It's 2023. Why can't you draw something that looks bigger or whatever?" I'm just like, "Oh god, I'm so." But
No,
you
can't.
can't please everybody
No.
when it comes
and
to
there's
art.
people out there
Yeah.
that just will never like pixel art. It's ridiculous.
And it
It's
is
wrong. Yeah, exactly.
it's feedback nonetheless.
It is.
It is.
It's market research and all of that. But you know what? As a developer who's doing that with passion and love, like you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? And if that involves
Yeah.
pixels, then
What you
so
can
be
do.
it. You
Yeah.
know, because let's face it, there's a whole like sect of young people that think that 3D is better than pixel art because of
course.
for
Oh, yeah.
whatever arbitrary
Yeah.
reason that they've come up with.
Yeah, of course.
It's just not the case.
No.
There's no better or
There's,
worse. I mean, this is a game we're talking about. There's a design.
Gameplay.
There's all these
yeah.
technical
It's
things.
gameplay.
Like it is a lot more than just the graphics.
Yeah, it's gameplay at the end of the day, really, right? You have the best graphics,
Well, to some
the best
people,
graphics in the world, and the gameplay's not there, then it's only going to last so long.
it's weird.
We were like working on multiple loops. When it comes to gameplay, you got to have like a fun loop of flying down to a planet, collecting a bunch of cool stuff and seeing stuff, then going back up and upgrading your guy. But then at the same time, you can go explore like space labyrinths and crazy other things, or fight bosses, and there just needed to be a lot of things to do.
Or bounty hunting, that's
I
what I
think-
like.
I mean, especially
Going
bounty hunting. That's right, like doing missions
hunting, where you got to find like 3 sub bosses, and sometimes they're across multiple.
The sub bosses are hard.
Yeah, and a lot of the time,
right,
kick
the
my
ones
butt.
can't find
underground and
enough to
stuff.
complete the quest on one planet, so you got to like hunt them across multiple, and I like that. One of the funnest things for me.
Yeah, and we added stuff to the map to where you can see
what's there.
what creatures are on the planet, just out of pure like, well, I'm tired of going to a planet just to see if something's there. I want to see it on the map. Like, tell me if this creature's there, so I'll go to that planet. And,
Quality of life.
just exactly.
That's dope.
But yeah, there's just so much to do in the game, and it's I get back into it here and there. Like, I'll just go back to it and play it, and then I'll be like stuck in it for a while, and that's I can't say that about every game that I've played.
Sure.
So it's just like you pump your whole life into something, and
Oh gosh.
kind of what you get, right? Is what you get out of it is a finished product, and you should be proud of it. And I do feel proud of it. I feel like
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
I feel like I accomplished something.
We
I've met
did a
people
lot of hours on that.
that have heard of the game
That's so cool.
that I have never met before.
They knew the game.
So
That's really
neat.
awesome.
Yeah, through the grapevine. I'm like, wow, my game? That's crazy. You're my best friend. Like in real life. It's weird when it's in real life that you
Yeah,
meet
that
somebody,
would
not
be a
like on the
trip.
internet,
That would be a trip for sure.
right? Yeah, it is strange. But Steam helps with that. There's a lot of people on Steam,
Yeah.
But how do you feel about this wish list world we live in?
The wish list
these
world.
days?
All I have to go off of right now is my own game's wish list activity, and unfortunately,
Right.
I don't have a demo up, so it's real weird. I'll get like 3 or 4 pluses and like 2 minuses every week. You know what I mean? And it's building up. But man, I really need to update my Steam page. It's been that way for like 2 years now. Even the trailer on it's out of date.
Right.
I've been kind of lazy with
It's
that
a
stuff.
struggle when you've been making a game for a long time. Our Steam page, like almost every big release, we'd be like, all right, rebrand it because it just needs a update.
It's a lot of work.
Like It is. It's all the images of Steam. Oh, so many different sizes and
and the
this and that.
copy
Yeah.
and like just making sure everything is up to people's expectations, having GIFs on there and
Right.
all that
Yeah,
stuff.
capsule.
Well, and then there's all these videos about like how to build your Steam page, and
Oh, yeah.
everyone's making a mistake. You're wrong on how you build. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now there's a right way.
Well, it is getting late here. We've been on this call for quite some time. I'll probably have to edit some of this out. We should try to wrap up here. Is there anything you guys want to plug other than obviously to go out and buy Terrene and to follow you guys on social media? Where should people follow you?
I'm just on Twitter, so Justwall Wirehead.
Twitter.
But we're gonna make a new
He's on Twitter.
combined itch page, and I think Justwall's
cool.
already made the Steam page.
Yep. I have. Yeah, Justwall Wirehead Games is we're gonna move forward with like combining our efforts legitimately as opposed to doing two
Terrene
studios.
sort of under my dev
And,
on Steam and itch, so be good to move
Exciting.
those
Yeah.
together, and
So
that'll happen soon.
yeah, and you can find Justwall Games on everywhere. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Blue Sky. There got to be missing one. I'm pretty sure I'm on Reddit. I could just keep going, right? Yeah. Find me somewhere. I'm always around. I go and stream with No Pro Player on Twitch. I'm usually hanging out with her on Twitch. I don't stream myself, but I just join her voice. And,
Oh, that's cool.
so if you like my ramblings, you can usually find me there. And she streams League of Legends and survival games and a bunch of
and we both
other
have
things.
I've seen her around on Twitter.
Yeah, she's been
Yes, she's
around
good
for
peeps.
ages. Eh?
Cool.
But yeah, we both have itch, and all my old stuff's on itch mostly. Same with Justwall.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out that Death Rings of Jupiter. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, man. I'll give you a key. Hey? Don't buy it.
Nah, don't worry about it. I can purchase it. Gotta get money
it's pretty
somehow.
hard. I'll just tell you.
It's not an easy
it's
game.
fairly brutal. Yeah,
not easy.
So, but it's if you like. Did you like old Gravity games? I don't know. There's a lot of Gravity going on in there.
It's Gravity platformer.
I mean, like,
or,
did you ever, like a game? There was like, do you remember Thrust? Was like the original one where you kind of always like.
I don't know that one.
So you got a little ship in a cavern, and it's always getting pulled down by gravity, and you got to like turn it and give it a thrust to keep it afloat. You know what I mean?
Solar Jetman kind of
it's
thing.
It's like that mode in like when you're landing in asteroids, and then outside of it is like it is like in space you don't have like a speed limit, so if you get too much momentum, you can just trail off into space and run out of oxygen and die, kind of thing. You got to like really maintain your speed, and yeah, it's like a zero gravity kind of bullet hell shooter game. A bunch of roguelike stuff in it, and yeah.
Cool.
It's brilliant.
It's hard, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it. It's yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes when I get around to it.
Well, I just downloaded the latest Retro Ball, so I'll have a crack. I should give you some feedback. I'll do that.
Oh, yeah, I would love some feedback, honestly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Terrene a new one, for sure.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I'm trying to get the Steam demo up to snuff, and it's just not there yet. So the more feedback, the better.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me. Really appreciate the chat. It's you guys are a ton of fun to talk to.
Thanks, man.
Heck yeah, thanks
for
having
us. It was a lot of fun.
Yep. We appreciate it. I'm glad we got it scheduled finally.
Yeah.
Crazy time zones,
Cool. Well, maybe, and I say this a lot, but maybe when things are further along on this new project, you can come back on and talk about that a bit more when things are set in stone a bit, or you got a demo out something. That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll talk to you later and end the podcast here.
All right. Peace.
Thanks again, everyone, for listening. Everyone should go out and get Terrene. Terrene, it's such a fun game. It works great on the Steam Deck, and you should totally go get it. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day.